count. Yeah, 200. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a spooky episode of End of Time Cast. I'm your host, Michael. You better do it, Chris.
Nope. I'm Chris.
Fuck it, one of us is playing Halloween, the other's being a fuddy-duddy. No, we are recording this the night before Halloween, and sorry if we disappoint anybody, but no, we don't have any Halloween specials for this one. We could always bullshit about favorites, horror games. Do you like horror games at all? You into them?
I don't go out of my way to play them. I know a lot of streamers, they do their spooky October, month-long stream of spooky games. I don't do that.
No Spocktober for you? I guess that's something completely different. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to say a lot of games that I go out of my way for to play in general. But I play them when they come around. Like I said, the Resident Evil 7 was very surprisingly very well done. Good trip back to the old horror scope.
Yeah, I tried playing, I think it was 6 or 5.
Oh, good God.
Something like
Bless
that.
your soul.
And it was absolutely terrible. I was like, okay, I guess I haven't missed anything. Because before that,
action.
I hadn't really played since 2.
Oh, man. 2 was actually up on my wall for the longest time. I genuinely love 2. Even more than 4, believe it or not. But that's personal preference kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you like Dead Space? Interested in those?
I own them. At least the first one.
No.
And I haven't played it yet. But it was on Games with Gold, I believe, and I snagged it.
Oh yeah, they're worth it. They do suffer from the jump scare shit now and again. That's definitely a downfall. But if you've ever played Doom 3, it's not to that degree. It's genuine horror and creepy weird shit as opposed to, oh man, it's quiet. Oh no, he jumped out of the pipe. Oh man. They do, but it's just handled better.
Yeah.
Atmosphere is really good. Eerie soundtrack. The story is really good. The third one, they did a good job of tying the story up, but the gameplay started getting into the, hey, you can always buy these parts and fucking make new weapons. And I played through the entirety of 3. Wish I could tell you something about it. I remember the beginning of it took place in the snow. That's pretty sad, when you play through a whole game. It's not fair. It's a fairly recent game. I've played 1 and 2 repeatedly, each one of them at least 2 or 3 times apiece. But played through the third one once, don't remember shit. Couldn't care less. What else? My first horror game was actually Resident Evil. That was back when that ex-friend of mine let me borrow the PlayStation. And, oh man, even for archaic as it was back in the day, that was some shit,
That dog at the door.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the most terrifying things as a child.
Man, finding a hunter for the first time and, it beating the shit out of you, and then it just jumps up in the air and fucking takes your entire head off. Oh, yeah. Side tangent, that game always has a very specific in real life soundtrack to me. Have you ever had times in life where it's either a life event or I guess in our case, an actual game where you were listening to something else and you always, when you think of that game, you think of that music?
Only Final Fantasy VII.
What album or what music or song always comes to mind when you think of Final Fantasy VII?
Probably Midgar, or actually, Junon, however you say it.
Well, this is more like, okay.
I don't associate it with something happening, but that just comes to mind, and I'll randomly get that in my head and think about it.
Let me phrase your question this way. Let me pose why I'm getting at. For whatever reason, I guess around this time I was shifting gears in my music, and a friend of mine had recorded on cassette tape for me a Green Day album, and I want to say it was Dookie. It was either Dookie or the next one. Good God, I could sing every song for you right now, but I can't tell you the fucking album title. But because I had Resident Evil, I had these 4 PlayStation games and this new album at the same time. I played this album all the time. It was not a discredit to Resident Evil's music. It was not a discredit to the way that they composed their music. It's just that I had this new album and I constantly listened to it. So whenever I play Resident Evil 1, anytime after that, or I see Resident Evil 1, I hear, Nice Guys Finish Last in my head, or Hitching a Ride or something. I always associate Resident Evil.
Thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking, that's what I'm getting at. More of like, have you ever played a game and had a specific song, or preferably an album, and been like, yeah, when I play this game, I always think of this music?
No.
Yeah. I guess because I bounce around, and again, it's never been, even today when I watch videos while I'm playing a game, it's never a discredit to the music. It's never a discredit to or lack of music. You don't always have to have some bombastic soundtrack. A good horror movie is an example where you can have quiet, subtle little twangs here and there, and that's all you need. Breath of the Wild, another good example. You run through a lot of landscape in that game, and aside from battles or specific music keys, you just hear subtle little piano cues now and again. But it's just sometimes in my personal life, I've had it where I've listened to other music, and I'll just associate life events to specific music. I remember going to MEPS in New Orleans, Louisiana for my military exam, and somebody had let me borrow or I had acquired Lenny Kravitz's new album at the time, and I just remember that whole entire album. Just remember it. Anytime that I associate going to New Orleans now, I think of that song or those songs and that music in my head. But I liked Resident Evil. I liked Resident Evil 2. I played 3 a few times. Good. I mean, it was doable. Played 4 a long time later. I enjoy 4. I like the way 4 is set up. I want to say that I had 5 and played 5 once. Didn't care for it. Have never played 6 because, oh my God. 5 and 6 was around that time for me where the story in general was really, really starting to piss me off.
My big issue with the series is the controls.
Really?
Even going back to 1 and 2, where you have to actually turn the way you want to face and then move forward and stuff like that.
Now, let me ask, are you talking about you today in 2017 going back and playing it, or are you talking about when you played it back then where you're like, oh, fuck this?
So I think I'm a little better at it now because of other games doing it, but I'm still not a fan. But it was absolutely terrible for me back then. And that's probably why I never actually completed one of the games.
Yeah, they're definitely rough to go back to. Any of those old tank controls, they take some time. They take some patience. But I mean, back in the day when that's all you had, well, fuck.
Yeah. That's a good point. Tank controls. When it's like a vehicle or something like that, I don't have an issue, but it was trying to play a person doing that, where I need to react quick, do things, Yeah, not enough of a margin of error there.
Right. I've never played the first Silent Hill in my life, so I have no context for it. I have played 2. I bought 2 around the time I had this is how silly I was. I had Silent Hill 2 back in the day. I bought it fairly new when it came out for the PlayStation 2. And I think I either traded it to somebody or sold it to somebody back then, not realizing, I mean, who the fuck would know that a fucking cult hit that game was going to be? That one of many games in my life that would in the future be worth lots of money and be hoarded,
Yeah.
I enjoyed Silent Hill 2. It's a good game. I don't know. I guess I kind of agree. I don't go out of my way to play horror games, but if there's some that catch my eye, I'll take interest. It takes a lot for me, I guess, because I'm so desensitized to horror shit via movies and games. a good example, my wife and I recently went to a haunted house and borderline bored, except for a few parts in it is the best I would agree. And when we're driving home, she was like, why don't we go to the escape rooms or something? And I figured we could try those, but when we were having conversations about actual horror, like, themed houses, I feel like there's a median that I want to go try, but an extreme that I don't want to go to. Like, the one that we went to in New Orleans, and even one we went to here in my hometown, it's been the, you know, here's a house. It's set up with like 20, 30 separate rooms. All their rooms are elaborately decorated, and the people inside have awesome costumes and great makeup work. But it's get in a line and walk through, maybe have some jump scares, somebody claps or somebody bangs a wall or somebody, you know, blares a horn, and you just walk through this fucking assembly line, not running, but at a quick enough pace where when you want to stop and look at shit, you can't because you're holding up the line, you know?
Yeah.
And then 15, 20 minutes later, you're out. And I'm immediately when I exited the one in New Orleans, I was like, all right, what was interesting? I remember these two things. That's it. And if you were to go through this house and just take a fucking hour of your fucking life and look at everything and go, man, that's some detail. Man, that's creepy. But you don't get to do that generally with these haunted houses. On the opposite end, you have oh, you're here in our care for 24 hours, sign these 5 fucking pieces of paper, sign these waivers because we're gonna fuck with you. I don't think I want to do that, not because I'm scared, but because I don't have to go to that level. I need to go to a place that's like supposedly haunted, but they fuck with you in subtle ways. You know what I mean? That's what gets me, even in games or movies. Subtle horror is what gets me. I think modern houses like that one in New Orleans, I told my wife I treat them as an example of what's wrong with like horror movies today. Like all they think they have to do is be real quiet and then bang, throw a fucking loud noise at you and make your head turn. Like that's not. I'm fucking 35. I'm not. Exactly. You don't have to. If there's 20 fucking jump scares in your movie, you fucked up. It's the ones that are really quiet and have that shit where you go, oh shit, I didn't even see that over there. That's fucking creepy. That's what I'm interested in. A good example of games that have done that for me recently. Earlier this year, I played both of the Outlast games. You can find them on Steam, fairly cheap, really good games. They do suffer from jump scares every now and again, but it's more that almost pitch fucking dark. Something can hear you, something can see you, and it's trying to get you. It's trying to find you, and you're trying to hide and trying to stay away.
Is that the one with the camera?
Yes, the second one had the. Actually, both of them. Yeah, sorry, both of them have a camera. Okay. Really fucking good. Not only from the story itself, not only from the gameplay. It was like Metal Gear Solid meets fucking Silent Hill. It was just that fucking. You're trying to be sneaky. And you're trying not to get caught, and that shit is right around the corner, and it's right there. It can see. If you fuck this up, they will see you, and then you're on the run, and you're trying to get away, and I gotta find another hiding spot, and hopefully I'm out of their zone. And I played through both of them and had a genuine good fucking time, to the point where I wish I could tell you what it was I played. I played 1 or 2 different horror style games afterward, and couldn't care less. I just had no fun. There was a stealth game I played. Shit. Oh, what is that? Dishonored. That's what it was.
Okay.
I went from playing Outlast and Outlast 2 and then played Dishonored. And a key thing to Dishonored is stealth. You know, You're trying to not get caught by the fucking guards. And I couldn't get into it. I was like, man, what you been through fucking Outlast? This is garbage. This is bullshit. Oh no, he's gonna club me to death or shoot me. I guess I better run. Crazy how a game can just totally just unearth a whole different game right out from under you.
Yeah.
What about you? Any of the horror games of note you can think of?
No, like I said, I don't really play them.
Yeah.
Resident Evil was my big one early on the PlayStation. and I have a lot of them. I have a lot of them queued up in Steam and whatnot, and on Xbox from the Games with Gold. I don't know. Maybe next year I'll do the October thing.
Do you think you'd ever do? You think you'd ever do like a VR horror thing?
Probably absolutely not.
We should take note. We're gonna have a VR episode one day. We'll jump on that and discuss it. I think that would probably scare the absolute fucking shit out of me. So I don't know if I'd ever do it.
I've watched people do it, and that's enough for me.
Yeah. Even like the roller coaster stuff. As much as I love high intensity and fucking speed and rides like that, I don't know, man. That shit's a bit too real.
Have you seen that game, Emily Wants to Play?
No. I like the way it sounds already, though.
Yeah, you go in. I mean, there's different levels to it, so to speak. But the first one is this creepy little girl, and the thing is, when you hear her laugh, you have to find her, because when she's not in your vision, she charges after you.
Oh shit!
So you have to sit there and stare at her until she disappears. So in VR, hearing that giggle, and then you're just looking all over the place. And then of course when she gets you, it's a jump scare because she jumps into the screen, no matter where you're looking. So yeah, not happening for me.
I think those games are right up a fucking alley for scaring the shit out of you. Like even thinking to a game like Outlast where you're in a dark room and you know something's coming, so you juke off to the side and duck behind a corner. You really, I mean, you can move your head around, and even if you vary the speed of your analog movement, I mean, you can move around fairly fast. There's a whole fucking difference in you looking at a screen and moving your thumbs to move a position of camera around, and then it's in your face. So that's what you're looking at, and you are physically looking around. Nah, I don't know. That's a challenge. That's a challenge, man.
Yeah, I think it was the Alien game, Alien Isolation or something like that. Yes. I don't know if it's the newest one where on PS4, which I don't know if that's the only console it's for, but it actually read the movement of the controller. So if you moved it would generate sound or something else that would cause the monster to notice you or the alien to notice you.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, so it added a whole nother level. So instead of just not touching the sticks on the controller, you just had to hold the controller still.
Yeah. Anything like that adds to it, I'm down for it. I'm down for trying it. And it adds more applications for what could be done. But man, in a horror game, it fits. It fits a little too good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's our spooky take, everybody. I hope you had your Halloween feel. Any plans? Are y'all going out trick or treating or anything this year?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're kind of up in the air. I have not had a costume picked. I've been so blasé about Halloween this year. I went as a fairly easy one last year. I've done it a couple years. I went as Hitman, though I don't think I'm actually allowed to wear that costume because I've never played a Hitman. So I kind of feel sacrilegious, but I look the part, so
yeah, it fit. I could instantly tell what you were when I saw the picture on Facebook.
Yeah. For anybody that's seen I think it's the 2016 version or 2015 with Rupert Friend, I believe is the actor's name. That is my fucking Hollywood twin. To the point to where we actually, my wife and I were looking at different movies he's played in and seen just different scenes where he was in it. And he has some of the same mannerisms as me as well. It was really fucking creepy. But, I don't know. I thought, as a joke, I was thinking about going as Stone Cold Steve Austin this year just because I think I could pull it off. But, I've just been so whatever about Halloween this year.
That'd be interesting to see.
Sadly, it's a sad story for me. I'm not a kid, and I'm not going to be that fucking dick adult that's like, hey, I did dress up. You still should give me candy. As much as I want candy, I'm not going to do that.
I mean, in a lot of places, it's actually illegal.
Yeah, I know. And I wouldn't do that anyway. So, and we don't have our own kids yet, so we're in that point where we're like, we'll probably go trick-or-treating with somebody, like maybe some family. But, man.
Just dress up the rabbits, you know?
Oh, she would love to hear you say that. She actually bought some costumes for the rabbits, and it's not that they're fat, because rabbits generally aren't fat. They're just so fucking fluffy. The costumes didn't fit, so we had to take them back. I gave her full reign to pick some costumes out if she wanted to. We could take some pictures, and she fucking did 20 backflips because dressing up rabbits is so fucking adorable. And yeah, they were too big. But no, and plus I'm the other adult. I'm the other non-adult because we don't go out and party all the time. The friends that usually throw parties this year, they haven't done it. They just decided to be lazy and go hang out, which I totally understand, man. When you don't have to throw a fucking party, it's a little easier on your life. But yeah. Plus, and thirdly, I'm on my vacation. I don't want to do a fucking thing, so
I hear you.
It's a fucking day of the year right now. I'll have time for family and Thanksgiving, and I'll have time for presents and family at Christmas, but Halloween right now is just meh. Just chilling. Just recording a fucking podcast, you know?
Yep.
What, I guess we should do an actual formal intro, 20-something minutes in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the End of Time cast. I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
Today, we got a good topic. Today, we're going to talk about portable games. Not yet, though. Don't everybody get your popcorn ready. What we wanted to do beforehand, we need to do some actuallys. I think you had some corrections and some additions you wanted to make from last episode, so I'll let you have at that if you want to.
Sure. So I was talking about the Dark Souls, and I didn't know what I had where, except for that I was pretty sure I owned one of them. So how it works out is I have Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2 on the PS3.
Right.
I don't remember why I bought Dark Souls 2. It may have just been on sale, for dirt cheap or whatever.
Yeah.
But I actually did not own Dark Souls.
Oh, wow.
So then Dark Souls 3 rolled around on Xbox One. That's where they had the deal where if you bought Dark Souls 3, you'd get Dark Souls, the Xbox 360 backwards compatible version, for free.
Ah.
Funny thing is, I bought this after it was expired. And they still gave it to me.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, all right, can't beat that.
So you've definitely owned Dark Souls 2 twice.
No, I don't own Dark Souls 2 at all. Or I own a PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't own any of them. It was that it skipped Dark Souls 2. So it's kind of funny in that I played Demon Souls on PS3. And I was playing Dark Souls on Xbox One. That's what I was talking about before I was stuck. But when I played Dark Souls 2, I'll be playing on PS3 again, and then when I get to Dark Souls 3, I'll be on Xbox One.
Gotcha.
So I'll be switching controls, for each game.
Anything else?
I was thinking about how much I'd played PS3, because I know I spent quite a bit of time playing, but I couldn't think of any games. So after we ended the other day, I actually went and looked at my gaming shelf.
You had 72 titles. You're like, oh, God, what a dick.
I only have maybe 10-ish games. I don't have a large PS3 library, but I spent a lot of time. One reason being GTA 5.
So you own that one on PS3?
Yes, and that's what I owned it on first. I own it on Xbox One as well since it came out for it. So I actually own 2 copies of it. But tell
me your hot take on GTA 5.
I think it's a great game.
Jesus Christ. Have you looked at the numbers and seen how well that game is still selling to this day?
Yeah, absolutely. Rockstar is nailing it with the multiplayer. I will, if I'm doing nothing and I don't know what to do, I'll actually load it up and just go in and do the cunning stunts races. Because they're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story was good. Being able to switch between the 3 characters was well done.
I love that story. And I love the dynamic of running through all 3 because they were all 3 so dynamically different
that
you had 3 different personalities and 3 completely different lifestyles every time you changed. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a spoiler alert for Grand Theft Auto 5 right now, because God knows we might get into it a little bit. But one of the most memorable moments for me in that game, and this happened this happened several fucking times, is switching from either Mike to Trevor or I forgot his name. There's Mike, Trevor, and
Franklin.
Franklin, yeah. Or going from Franklin to Trevor. So, random scenario, okay? Join me on this fucking journey. I'm playing a fucking mission with Mike, doing a random fucking mission. I was just supposed to go drive somewhere and fucking steal some money and then get back on the road, and I was gonna link up with Trevor. He has to go somewhere and do something. So I drive, start the mission, I drive, go do the fucking thing, get on the road, switch over to Trevor. Hey, Trevor, I'm gonna need you to go do this thing. And then switch to Trevor, and Trevor's like passed out in the back of some fucking stranger's yard with alcohol bottles everywhere, in his fucking underwear, and a duck walking by. And I'm like, what the fuck were you doing before this mission started? Or I'd be playing as Franklin, and then I would just be as Franklin, like, on the street walking. I would be, like, in the mood to just go buy clothes or something. Like, all right, cool. I got some new clothes. Let me switch over to Trevor. You switch to Trevor, and it immediately is in a fucking car with Trevor, who is in a fucking a gunfight on the road with cop cars shooting at him, and he's fucking throwing his shotgun out the back. Yeah, fuck you, motherfuckers! Bang, bang. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Really, really good at doing that shit in that game. Had such a good time with just little... If there is another company out there that's great about doing details, about little minute things, it's Rockstar.
Yep. They nailed it.
They had, so many little bitty things that would happen. And yes, I love the story. I was engaged with the story all the way through that game. I will say, as a last minute kind of thing for the ending, I don't think I cared for the ending too much. And there was a reason why. I think it was because the ending forced you to pick between people, and I didn't agree with it. Like, I got narratively how they made it work, and I've had this discussion with other people about other games and other forms of media. Just because you tell me this is why this is supposed to be this way, I don't have to agree with that. I still don't have to like that.
Yeah.
A good example, just a side example, is Mass Effect 2. I remember having a discussion with Adam about why they took out grenades. I fucking love the grenade aspect of Mass Effect 1. You fucking look at something, you throw a grenade out, and it goes in a straight line. They all but pretty much took out grenades from Mass Effect 2. And he was like, well, that's okay. If you go read the narrative, if you go read some of the dialogue, the extra shit in the game, they tell you why grenades were taken out. And I'm like, that doesn't work for me all the time.
Yeah, and I had no idea about that before you mentioned it either.
You can give me reasons why. You can write down a plot device or write down a reason why. Oh, well, we just hand wave this off. Doesn't mean I'm going to like it. And the actual details are escaping me at the moment, but there was something about the ending of Grand Theft Auto 5 where I think it was like you had to choose between killing... I think Franklin had to choose between killing Mike or killing Trevor, and there was no way around it that I remember. I could be totally wrong. There could be like a secret way or some shit, but I didn't like the fact that they wrote that in and forced that in. Like, you had to pick between killing one of those two. I played both the endings. Both of them got killed, but I didn't like either one. I just thought that was bullshit.
Yeah, it's been too long since I played. I don't even remember now anymore.
It's something like, so at the end of the day, I think you either had to pick between shooting one of the two, or you end up killing both of them and you leave. I think Franklin is the winner, quote unquote, at the end of Grand Theft Auto 5. He's the one that gets away. Which, hey, that's cool because Franklin was a cool dude, but they gave you a choice. You had to either backstab Mike or backstab Trevor. And I don't know. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it. I also didn't like that throughout the whole entire game, toward the later end, you remember that fucking dick FBI agent?
Yep.
So all three of you were like, man, why the fuck don't we just, like, kill this dude? Why don't we just fucking end it? And, you know, Mike's like, no, you don't want to do that, man. He's got ties, and your life will be worse. And Trevor's like, I don't give a fuck. Let's do it. Franklin's like, yeah, man, this is how we handle that shit. And they go through this big ordeal about, no, we can't fucking do that. We can't do that. And at the end of the game, they just fucking do it. They just, let's go do it, and they kill him. So, and I mean, these are story nitpicks that I'm having. You know, I still enjoyed the entirety of that game. I could still go through that game again and have a fucking blast. And just like any open-ended game that's like Grand Theft Auto, just like Just Cause, or any of those games, you can just pick those games up and have a fucking blast. You can have a fucking ball. The whole entire game gets a good fucking 9.5 out of 10. The story gets like about an 8.5, only because it fumbled for me at a couple times.
Yeah,
I also
it was pretty
wasn't
brutal too.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. I also wasn't a fan of how not user-friendly it was with personal cars. Like, there were a few times where I picked out I remember there were 2 or 3 specific car types that I liked, including a motorcycle type, and I would take it to a garage and I'd have the fucking paint job done. I'd trick it out the way that I wanted to, have all these fucking details. And if you took that back to your house, like let's say you took it to Franklin's house, and then you took it out, did what the fuck ever, you took it out of the garage, you went and drove around Hell's Half Acre, you destroy that car, that's done. Now, I get it. Like, I understand if they're slightly realistic, you know, if you wreck your fucking car, you're done. But it's a video game. I spent a lot of fucking money on that car.
And it's not like that happened to default vehicles either.
Precisely. Yeah, I think the old Grand Theft Auto games used to be that way as well. Like, there were specific cars if you had in GTA 3 that if you kept these, they would be, like, permanent forever. But I don't know. It was just a small nitpick. At the end of the day, by the time that became a thing for you anyway, you should have been rolling in money anyways. So if you wrecked your car, you could just drive around and find another one and then spend some money and trick it out again. But that's just me being a fucking, you know, my pinky waving in the air gamer. Like, no, I want to save my cars. It's a video game. Good game.
They, I know, had some issues in multiplayer too with personal vehicles. I don't know if they all got worked out.
Sell multiplayer to me. As a guy who's never played the Grand Theft Auto games at all in a multiplayer setting, sell it to me. Make me want to go play multiplayer.
You know, I don't know if I'm actually the person to do that. Because
all right, well, you fucking failure.
Here's the thing. I enjoy it for the races.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime you're going to do multiplayer, unless you have a group of real life friends you're going to play it with, or even online friends, you know, a steady group of people you know, it's not worth doing.
Oh.
Because the things that are worth doing are typically on a harder difficulty, and you can't just run through it with randoms. People will quit, people will just be bad sometimes, which, you know, that happens, but people will quit, people will not do what they're supposed to. Playing, the way it works is your lobby is essentially a session of the game on the map, and you just have all these random people in there. So you're trying to do, you know, play with your friends or whatever. You can do a private game, but there's some features that aren't available in private games. So you're trying to go around do something specific, and you just have some moron running around with the RPG, just killing everybody he sees because he doesn't care,
Gotcha.
And there are actually modes, and the reason why you can't do everything in the private games is because there are modes that focus on you against other real people and organizations and stuff. Like they
Right.
have the motorcycle gangs, they have the company. Recently they did the Smugglers DLC, which
Mhm.
I don't know if that carries over from the company or organization or if that's a new organization. And you can only be in one organization at a time or something like that. As far as it's the CEO organization thing. Yeah, so it's one of those things where you want to play with people not randoms. And
Right.
I don't know of really anybody that plays 5 still.
So it has multiplayer aspects, but they're more geared toward groups multiplayer.
Yes. Yeah, I
Gotcha.
don't know that there's really anything to do single player, multiplayer. That's a funny way of saying it. As a solo person in multiplayer,
Right.
other than races. And even then, it's annoying trying to get lobbies for certain races. And Rockstar has a pretty good system in place, but it has room for improvement.
I gotta say, man, it says something. I mean, there could be other factors in this, like maybe you just haven't played other games, but it says something when, of the plethora of beautiful and mechanically sound racing titles out there, you jump online on Grand Theft Auto 5 to do racing. That says a lot about that game. That says a lot about that game.
You know what? That's a nice little segue into something else I want to talk about on PS3.
Snap, go for it.
And that is a terrible game. That was
Oh,
I've got 2 terrible games on my list, and I know how you'll feel about one of them, not about this one. Gran Turismo 5. Now, Gran Turismo 2 on PlayStation, I believe it was. I spent many, many, many hours playing that. Loved it. Loved customizing the cars. I do the endurance races that took 4 hours to complete.
Right.
I'd sit there and just race. Gran Turismo 5, I gave it a shot. I got maybe 3 hours, which was very generous on my part, and I just couldn't take it anymore.
Let me run back in my memory. Was Gran Turismo 5, wasn't that one of the early, initial launch titles of the PS2?
5 is PS3.
Oh shit. Well then maybe it was it, there was a Gran Turismo that was coming out right around the time that PlayStation 2 was announced. It was almost like a launch title.
That probably would have been 3.
It must have been 3 or 4. I'm gonna say 3. Yeah, I remember seeing the tech demos of that shit and being like, oh man, these racing games are getting, even back then on the PlayStation 2, I was like, man, these fucking racing games are getting so beautiful. It looks so real. And then you look at them today. Oh shit.
Yeah,
It's fucking crazy.
and Gran Turismo 5 looks good. It's just not a mechanically sound game.
Wow. That's supposed to be up there. That's supposed to be up in the echelons of fucking racing titles,
Yeah.
What was it about the game that turned you off?
I've blocked most of it from my memory, so
Oh God! What?
I wanna
Was
say
it
that-
fucking run over babies in the streets or something? What the hell?
I want to say that a lot of the customization was locked. Not available or whatever. The selection of cars wasn't as good as I was expecting. I'd have to probably actually go back and boot it up to see exactly what was wrong. The UI was terrible, which is,
Wow.
I mean, how do you screw up a UI on a racing game?
Real.
But yeah, all around bad game. Regretted it.
Do you, just to qualify yourself, if for any racing comments in the near future, do you consider yourself like a racing game guy? Do you like them? Do you enjoy them?
To a certain extent. I'm not super into it, but I enjoy getting out there, just doing a race, chill, and it's one of my chill game things. Like I said, I'll
Gotcha.
log into GTA 5, do a couple races, and that's just, to chill. I don't stream it. That's one of the reasons I do it, is because I'm not going to stream it.
Yeah.
Just to kick back and relax. I recently loaded up Forza on Xbox One because it was on the Games with Gold as well. That's where I get tons of my games.
Right.
Loaded it up. That game is a cutscene, whatever. It's just basically a movie. You have like 6 minutes of cutscenes in between every race, and they're not skippable.
Jesus. Wow. And then the nail was going down into the coffin, and then you said non-skippable, and the hammer drove it in.
Yeah. So I made it through, I think, 4 races on there, and I was like, I'm tired of these cutscenes. So I stopped playing Forza. But yeah, Gran Turismo 5, PS3, all around bad game.
Gotcha.
Before I get into the other bad game, I'll mention a good game. I have 2 good games on my list for PS3 that I spent time on.
All right.
The Last of Us.
Oh, I have that. I have the remastered edition for the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And it's one of those I'm itching. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, you won't regret it. It's a great game.
I hear not only is the gameplay great, the fucking story is great. It has a lot of those fucking retching moments in it. Can't wait.
It is a very emotional game.
So good.
All right, so the other bad game, Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal for the PlayStation
3. Yep.
That's not Black. That's
no. This title is literally only Twisted Metal, I believe.
I believe I have played that one time and went, eh. Let me just say, let's see, I have actually played Twisted Metal 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have played Twisted Metal Black, and I want to say, how did I do the Twisted Metal? I don't know if I played it or if maybe I watched somebody play it. It may have been like a Let's Play. I don't remember much about it. But of all the Twisted Metals in my entire life, I cannot get away from Twisted Metal 2. Yeah. I mean, graphics alone, Black blows Twisted Metal 2 out of the water. Now, granted, they go for a more 3D scape. It goes away from the fucking polygon sprite bullshit. But even so, it's on a next-generation console, and it should have been awesome. And I would fucking drop Black in a heartbeat to go play Twisted Metal 2. And I've seen every ending like 20 times. I've shown people the endings to get them to play this game. And I still love it. I still get a kick out of all of them when I watch and play the game, you know?
Yep, absolutely. And that's, why I saw Twisted Metal and I think it was like $10. I was like, okay, I love Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
I played, I believe, 1, 2, and 3. All endings, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Twisted Metal's another one. I gave it about an hour, I think. It didn't even get that long. And I was like, okay. I can't remember. Yeah. I'm trying to think. You don't have very many characters or something, and the endings just weren't there or something, or it was a generic ending that everybody got or something completely off about it.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed.
It's so sad, this is a dream game for people out there to engineer. I could see canon-wise reusing certain racers, but make the fucking game with like 15 to 20 brand new vehicle types. I mean, use your imagination and fucking make that happen. Bring the attitude and air of Calypso from Twisted Metal 2 and have him fuck everybody over, like fuck half the crew. That's all you have to do. Just think of sarcastic fucking endings to people that want shit. Do the fucking typical devil thing and twist their wishes around and get a good laugh or have a fucking oh shit moment here or there. You got Twisted Metal.
Yep.
I mean, it's that fucking easy. And they kept... I mean, even from... I've got to say, man, even from 3 on, they really started going with the try hard. I mean, really trying hard. Especially with Black. Black had it all going for it with the soundtrack and the fucking Painted Black song, the theme to it, and the much darker tone. But I want to put the Twisted Metal Black PlayStation 2 disc. I want to put like a fucking Black wig over it with long fucking hair and put a fucking, I want to put like a spike bracelet wrapped around it with a fucking razor blade duct taped to it with edge tattooed across it and a marker or something, because that's what it was trying to do. It was trying too hard to be dark. And I'm like, you don't have to. Twisted Metal 2 had dark stuff in it, yes. It had fucking people dying in the game's intro. It had its dark aesthetics to it. But it knew when to inject humor to get you. It knew when to inject the, hey man, play some fucking rock and roll music and drive around and blast shit to pieces. That's Twisted Metal. Doesn't all have to be fucking dark, edgy emo, you know? On my PS3 end, because I didn't touch on it that much either, I don't have a lot of games either. I think I've got closer to 10. The majority of that library for me is actually Ratchet and Clank games, because several came out for the PlayStation 3, and I think I have all of them except for one maybe spin-off game. I've played through all of them. I can't complain about any Ratchet game I've ever played. They're almost all on equal, enjoyable terms for me. I've had God of War 3 for the longest, and it's so weird. I remember playing through God of War 1, and of course this was way back in the day, and enjoying it. I remember playing God of War 2 and being like, oh fuck yeah, they just took that game and made it better. And I remember the ending to God of War 2, spoiler warning for God of War 2 for the fucking PlayStation 2 from 7,000 years ago. I remember the ending to God of War 2 being a cliffhanger and being like, oh man, that fucking sucks. Well, I can't wait to play God of War 3. And of course, God of War 3 came out on the PlayStation 3, and it was a long time in my life where I got a PS3, so I kind of pushed that to the side. And I've never had the inclination to go back and play that. I feel like I should. It's on my shelf. I need to play it. I need to finish out that original game, especially with the new one coming out.
Yeah, the new one looks pretty good.
God, that game looks so good. And I have a spot in my heart, this is a personal life thing, of movies and games that revolve around like a father and son aspect. I don't know why, it's just a thing with me. And this boy having either his father being, or a father figure being fucking Kratos, and Kratos being like, hey, it's time for you to be a man, go fucking hunt your food, boy. He's like, what should I do? I don't fucking know. Pick a bow up and go handle your business. That fucking got me. The story of that alone got me. That's before I got to, you know, the usual God of War shit of him taking down a behemoth, giant fucking monster thing, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be able to... Because the previews did the emotional thing really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the game is going to be able to maintain that, or if it's going to be interspersed, you know, okay, here's a cutscene, but then you don't care for, you know, the next hour of gameplay. Or if it'll stick with you like The Last of Us does. It's really good at maintaining that emotion throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. If you're going to show something like that, because that 10, 15-minute trailer got me. And sadly, because I didn't have the fucking game in my hand to physically play it, what got me was that dynamic between those two, that father and son appeal. Well, I hope that that's not like, well, you know, once we got across the river and got to this town, you know, the boy fucking went on his way, and Kratos was a badass for 3 missions, and he came back, you know?
Yeah. Go stay with your mom again. You know, I got this to take care of.
That'd be kind of a, you sold me a bill of goods here, which is this fucking kid, and then I dropped the kid off. So I'm hoping that, and this goes to talk more about this game just from a fucking preview. You're basically doing a glorified escort mission, Chris. That's all this is. You're fucking Kratos, the once god of war, with, until I see any powers, I don't know any better, with a fucking kid. So if you're playing a 30, 40 something hour game with this kid, you got fucking Medusas and Minotaurs and fucking legions of fucking soldiers with weapons and magic and all this shit, and there's a fucking kid at your side that you are telling, good luck. Well, you're escorting this kid. So, if they're making the entire game like this, you're actually saying to yourself, hey man, there's going to be an escort game coming up. I can't wait to play it. What fucking age? Am I fucking drunk? Am I happy to be playing an escort game now?
You know, when you put it like that, it actually made me think, and I haven't played it, but I saw it played BioShock Infinite.
Oh,
with
man.
the girl.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if it's going to be similar to that, you know, in that aspect.
BioShock Infinite was fucking garbage. So. We should do a in a time podcast statement on that one.
I haven't played it, so all you on that one.
Yeah, I guess I could swing the bat on that one. I played BioShock 1. Okay, I played BioShock 1. I played that game all the way through at least twice. I don't know if it was because the particular friends I had around me. I don't know if it just got hype around me. That game was okay. BioShock 1, which I played for the Xbox 360 back in the day, was okay. Okay, if I had a choice to play another shooter, I probably would have played it. It was damn sure not a fucking Battlefield 3. And I know we're talking two different game styles. I get that. Battlefield is a fucking run gun, get in a tank, shoot, fly, bam, bam, wham, die, move on. BioShock was more of a creepy atmosphere, slight puzzle, slight magic with your the shit you injected in your... I get it. But as far as the game itself, as if I was to take it as a shooter and give it a fucking shit it out your ass grade, I gave it like a fucking 6.5 or 7. It was not the greatest thing since sliced bread to me. Not even the story. I get that there were context clues. I get that the way that it told the story through the Vox boxes or whatever the fuck they were. I got it. I got what they were going for. I guess steampunk style things, just, they're not, I mean, again, that's an okay theme, but it's not something that just fucking gets my jocks off. Game was okay. No problem with it. It wasn't the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I had a good time playing through it.
Yeah.
The story was okay. Didn't fucking blow my mind. Never played BioShock 2. I can't say anything good or bad about it. BioShock Infinite came around, and I had that shit in my peripheral. It was almost the equivalent of like Fallout 4 for me. Everybody around me would not shut the fuck up about this new BioShock game coming out. And I saw a trailer for it, and I saw I'm talking about the old trailer, mind you, the one where it shows him like on a fucking grind rail of sorts, and he's fucking zipping around and shooting stuff, and I was like, I don't know, I don't see anything here that really adds to what I got out of BioShock, and since BioShock 1 was kind of a whatever for me, I don't know, whatever. Well, the hype spun around me, and I ended up buying that game for the 360. I bought it, played it. I made it probably, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 hours into the game. It just didn't do anything for me. Now, again, I got what the story was going for. I got the jab you in the gut moments that it was going for. I got the topics, the hot fucking button topics it was trying to talk about. But the game itself did not get me. Not only that, but I didn't do any of the fucking grinding the rails shit that I saw from the trailer, so that was out of the question. The only thing that I took away from BioShock Infinite, this is so fucking sick. This tells about how a fucking shut-in, doesn't have culture nerd I am. The only thing that I took away from BioShock Infinite was the remake version of God Only Knows, the one that's played on there's like these fucking robots come up, no, not robots, these guys come up, they sing like an acapella version of God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. Love that song. Have it on my MP3 player. Listen to it often. That's all I remember about that game.
Nice.
I don't know, man. I wish I could tell you. The gameplay aspects were cool. I got what they were going for, but nothing. This is what it's like when you're an individual in the world, Chris. Like, not everybody, just because the game is a 10 out of 10 doesn't mean it has to be a 10 out of 10 for you.
Absolutely.
You know? I'm sure there would be, if we had like 7,000 fans, our comments would be lit up at the bottom, and my fucking balls would be cut off because of, oh, fucking game was great. It's a masterpiece. It just wasn't for me. Not only was it not a masterpiece, it didn't even catch me enough to make me want to keep playing the game. So it's my hot take.
No, I mean,
BioShock Infinite.
I have no desire to play it after watching what I did. I didn't watch the entire game, so I don't know anything about like the ending or whatever. But I watched several hours of it played, and I was just like, okay, it's sort of interesting, but I'm not gonna spend the money on this.
It seems like the mass appeal that I get from a lot of my friends and a lot of what I read and gather from it, being an outside mosquito, like looking in, is that they're definitely, especially the first BioShock and Infinite, they're thinking man games. Like, they're supposed to have a lot of moments to make you rub your chin and go, oh yeah, that's, I never thought of that. Yeah, that's racism, right? Yeah, that's a good way to handle that topic. Or, fucking time travel. Oh man, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah, think, just whatever. I don't know. I would be pressed to think for other thinking man games right now, but that one, it just didn't get it for me.
Yeah. So another good game for PS3 I played, Tomb Raider.
Tell me about it.
It's fun. So it was interesting. So I played, the
Slap
old
that
school
sticker
ones.
on the back of your fucking box, guys. Chris from End of Time Cast. It's fun. End quote.
Yeah, so I did enjoy it a lot. The story was pretty good. Mechanically, it was good. It had the crafting system, so you could craft your weapons and ammo and everything, and added another aspect to it on top of just, okay, go explore this little dungeon or tomb, whatever she happens to be raiding at the moment. It wasn't just that. There was actually a, well thought out plot, made sense with the character, having to scavenge around. I even enjoyed not multiplayer, but what is it? I'm trying to think of what they called them. They're basically side quests you could do, completely unrelated to the story. So it just dropped you in, and you had these cards you could play to either start with more stuff, start with less stuff, or have some handicap or benefit throughout the entire round of whatever you're playing. And you got a score at the end of it. And, of course, if you started with better stuff, you got a penalty to your score, etc. So that was actually an interesting thing and fun. And it was nice that it was completely separate from the story. You may have areas or zones that are similar, or they're, based in the same area, but it wasn't reliant on the plot too much. As long as you'd been to that area, you're like, oh yeah, this is where this happened. Okay, you don't really care anything about that. You could also go back and do the same thing with the levels of the story.
Oh, snap.
So it was, I don't know if there was a time trial or just the challenge mode, whatever they called it. So that's interesting to do. There's, you get, I think it was 3 challenges each time you play through, and you actually got to pick them from whatever pool they gave you, and one of them that gave you the most points, and what you had to do to actually get a gold star on it was to play through the level without getting hit.
Oh, snap.
So that was very difficult to do without also sacrificing your score by getting a good card to use.
See, this sounds like it harkens back to something that I loved about GoldenEye for the 64 and Perfect Dark as well, where like, okay, if you wanted to beat the game on this difficulty, here are the 3 things you need to do. All right, if you want to beat it on the next difficulty, here's 2 more things you got to do in addition to the other 3. If you want to beat it on 007, you got to do all this shit, and you got a time limit. I like that. I love games that have that, where it has It's not just we're going to increase the difficulty. It's we're adding more shit for you to do.
Yeah. And they even, included the silly ones that didn't have anything to do with points, like make everybody have the big heads, like the old school codes and stuff from, I'm trying to think of what it was that had them. I mean, lots of games have them. There's one particular I was trying to think of, can't think of right now. But yeah, so it was all around fun to play. I don't think I ran into any glitches. I don't think I had any problems with the game as a whole when I played through it. So it's, personally, I rate it high as a game.
Yeah. I have, I could look on my desktop right now if I felt like switching the screens, but I'm too fat and lazy. I'm not going to. I have one of the Tomb Raiders. It might just be the self-titled one for the PC. I think it came free, not when I bought my GTX 970, but the card I had before this. You fucking buy a video card these days, and 8 times out of 10, they're going to give you a game with it.
Yeah.
I was actually looking, as you saw on my Christmas list, I've got that fucking 1080 sitting up there, and I could not find a 1080 Ti that you did not get fucking the new war game, Shadows of Mordor, whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like every fucking card. I'm like, can you just shave off that $60 and give me this card for $60 cheaper? I'd rather spend $1,000 instead of $1,060.
Yeah, at least you get a somewhat good game. I remember one of mine. It still has the card in the case because I didn't care. It was some old basketball game.
Uh-huh.
I was like, really, of all the things you're going to give me with this nice video card is a basketball game that's not even going to use the graphics?
Yeah. But I have one of those Tomb Raiders, and I think I've made it through about 10 or 12 hours. And same thing for you. I enjoyed it, had a good time. I have not finished it, only because I think it suffered from one of those I got wrapped up with another game syndrome.
Yeah.
There's many reasons why I quit games in life. Not interested, but sometimes it revolves around to, man, another game came in, and I fucking moved on. And I will go back to that Tomb Raider game because I like it. I can't be the guy that coined this phrase, but it's a set piece game. And I like set piece games. I like where you walk into this room and you're looking around, you're like, okay, I need to get up there. How do I get up there? Well, obviously I should go pull that bar, and you pull that bar and a fucking trap swings out of the way and you got a button. Like, I like shit like that. That's fun. Especially when they have it in a very respectful, like button mash or cinematic point of view,
Yeah.
Now, if I walk into a room and I see like 16 different things to interact with, and I go, okay, using my brain, if I pull that lever, that's going to drop that log. That log will push over here. I can then push the log over and tie the rope around it. I can use that swinging log to do this. And I'm doing all this in my head, and I go, okay, here we go. And I walk over to the thing, and I press the button, and then 5 minutes later, the entire movie has done everything for me. That's when it's a bit much. That's when I don't fucking care. But Tomb Raider and, it harkens to, like, Uncharted. It has that same aspect where it's set pieces. They don't completely take it out of your hands. They take it out of your hands enough to add that Hollywood movie style effect to it. I like that. Yeah. I like it a lot. When they don't abuse it.
That was actually what came to mind when you start talking about the puzzles and whatnot. Because I remember the latest Uncharted thing with the 2 girls. I heard it was very good, and it was really good about the puzzles and whatnot as well.
Yeah, I've got the Uncharted, it's like the HD collection, I guess. And I've got it for the PlayStation 4, and it's another one that got swept up because another game caught my eye first, and I'm going to go through that one all the way. I hear all those games are good, and from the minimal, like, 3 or 4 hours I played of it, it's good.
Yep.
I like games like that.
That's on my Amazon list for PS4 once I get one, is that collection. Because I didn't want to play the new one without playing the old ones, and then they came out with that, and I was like, all right, that's great.
Yeah. I like the story. I like the voice acting. I like the action. I like the way they handle it. It's got just the right amount of, they take the control out of your hands and make this cool shit happen, and they put it right back in your hands, Yeah. I'm still a gamer at heart. I still want to do the cool shit, So yeah, I've got a few PS3 games anyway. But any other corrections before we move on to?
So I have one more PS3 game, and I'm hoping you've played this one because I'd really like to hear your opinion.
Okay.
It's Ni no Kuni.
Oh man, my heart. Okay, so this is touching on another YouTube channel that I got to find out what's up with them recently. But if you've ever heard of Clan of the Grey Wolf, if not, they had a podcast for a while as well, and they never shut up about that game. Ni no Kuni is such a good RPG. It's number one. It's that old Studio Ghibli style, and it's supposed to be just a great RPG in general. It's on my to buy list. I think I tried to look that up. Can you get that game on Steam? I don't think you can.
I don't think you can. I have it on PS3.
I think it's strictly a PS3, and I think they might have done a Nintendo DS port, but I know it's on PS3. It is on my to buy list because I fucking love RPGs, and I hear nothing but good things about that game. Nothing but good things. So I haven't yet, but I want to.
Yeah, I saved this for last, and I put a question mark next to it because I'm not enjoying it.
Whoa, man, no.
I heard it touted as this great RPG. You know, like you said, the style of it's great, according to people, but I can't get into it.
You're
I don't know what
too
it
old,
is.
Chris. That's your problem, man. You gotta.
And what's that say about you?
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was a little too childish for me. But I mean, I play Pokemon and I don't have an issue. So there's something about this game that just doesn't click.
It might be. Okay, so we're about to jump off a deep end here. I heard there is a Steam RPG. I think, and it was told to me as if you like Chrono Trigger, you need to play this game. It was a 2016, 2015 game. Oh shit, I don't know if this is ringing a bell for you. It's an RPG. It's got a lot of music overtones to it. Set in a snowy type area. Shit. It's blowing my mind. It'll be in a well actually down the road.
All right.
Anyway, that was the attention grabber to me, was like if specifically, and they may have been looping Chrono Trigger in with other ones. It may have been like if you like Final Fantasy 6 or Chrono Trigger or 4 or Dragon Quest, they might have been trying to just sell it as an old school RPG, but I had it on my wish list for a while. And I watched a couple trailers. The trailers were okay, which I mean, an RPG trailer isn't going to always tell you everything.
Yeah.
There's that. And I started reading reviews of people that were from different forums and etc. that play the game, and it was like, yeah, this game is not what it was cracked up to be. I don't know if it was an advertisement thing or what, but this game is very mediocre in the RPG era, and it should not be like, you can look if you want to play Chrono Trigger, go play Chrono Trigger. You're not going to get that here.
Okay.
So it might have been that thing with you. It might have been just blown to fucking hell and back, and then you went and played it, and you're just like, eh. I've had this happen several times for me in my life, especially with RPGs. Now look, man, I'm about to cut deep, but that's okay. That's okay. We're family. You can take it. I played Lunar back in the day. I believe I borrowed Lunar Silver Star Story Complete either from you or from somebody. I had that game. I may have even bought it. I'm not sure. I'm 100% sure that I beat that game all the way through. I couldn't tell you a goddamn thing about it. Don't remember it. But that's okay. I'm an old guy. My memory's shit anyway. So I'll just play it again in the future. No big deal. Apparently, this game is fucking up there. It's in the echelon. Adam beat me over the head with that game every other weekend we were together. Man, Lunar is a good game, and Lunar 2 is even better, and blah, 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 blah. So I picked up Lunar Same game, Silver Star Story Complete.
Well, that depends. Is it Silver Star Story Complete for PlayStation or just Silver Star Story for Sega CD?
Silver Star Story Complete for the PlayStation.
Because every version they did after Sega CD, they changed. And not in a positive ways.
Well, hear me out, because this is just one offender for me.
Yeah.
So I do remember, back in the day, playing through the entirety of Silver Star Story Complete, finishing that game. Not sure if I blew its asshole out, but I knew I beat it. That's all that matters. I didn't remember anything about it. I picked that game again up for the PlayStation 1, started playing through it again. I made it maybe 2 or 3 hours, dropped it. Not a hateful drop, just a push the controller aside, I just can't get into it. 1, didn't like the voice acting. 2, you almost took the fucking words out of my mouth when you said that about that game, is that I don't know if it felt childish, but it seemed like it was too childish for me. Now, 15, 16, 17-year-old me might have had a different opinion about it. Even that young of me might have been like, this is still kind of kiddie-ish. But the story, the game itself as a whole, felt like it would have been better suited for a young teenager's perspective, especially if it was like their first RPG, you know?
Yeah.
But when you come from shit like Final Fantasy VI and then the fucking overarch of 12 and even shit like that just gouges you in your heart like Lost Odyssey, or there's so many other RPGs that deal with these huge fucking Xenogears, as fucking spiderweb crisscrossy as that is.
Yeah.
When I was working my way through the story of Lunar, in a not rude way, I just kept feeling like I don't really care.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
This was around about last year, so this is fairly recent. However, hyper recent. I'm talking within the last week or so, and I mean I could talk about this when we talk about our weeks, but I mentioned last episode that I'm in this tornado where I'm playing random games. I'm playing these 2 hacks for these 2 games. I'm also just starting Grandia for the PlayStation 1. I stopped playing it. I could not get into it. It felt, again, I've got to find a fucking word or a phrase for this, but for lack of a better, it felt too childish.
How about this? Do you think it was too simple?
Yes, that could be what it was, and that could be part of the problem for Lunar for me. Now look, I understand that we as gamers are intelligent enough that we can make these games more difficult for ourselves. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm blowing through stuff and I don't even have to grind, that's a completely different story. You're losing me there.
You know,
but also just the voice acting in general. Something that Grandia 1 shares with the other is it has this over bubbly atmosphere to it. The characters are all bubbly, they're all smiling, and then when the bad guy comes in, he's not even that menacing. I don't know, man. There are many different straws I could grasp, but at the end of the day, if there's a fucking limit to what me and you need to play for a game to give it a fair shot, I'd like somebody to tell me, but I feel like I gave Lunar and Grandia both a few hours, a good shot, and I just, like I said, I just gingerly pushed the plate to the side and said no thanks. I just didn't agree with the sauce. It's just not my thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I look back,
sure they're great, but eh.
If I look back at Lunar objectively, get past the nostalgia, just think about it mechanically, it was a fairly simple and straightforward game.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned grinding, and I think you're talking about in the aspect of Grandia. But Lunar, I remember when I played on Sega CD originally, there were certain points where I had to grind to unlock spells to be able to complete certain areas. But when I went back recently and played it on emulator, this is within the last year, I didn't have to grind at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was different. I don't know if I was just being smarter about battles and, I had to run away in the past or whatever when I was younger. But I didn't have any problem. Yeah.
You grow as gamers. Like, I'm sure if have you ever played Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360?
No. I
All right,
bought
well,
it. I bought it, brought it home, popped it in because I could not wait to play it. Because I heard you talk about it, I heard others talk about it. I was like, this is a great game. It was a used copy, so I knew I was, risking it a little bit. But I hadn't opened it. And, 6 months roll around. I'm like, all right, I need to finally play this. I don't know why I didn't. But I was like, all right, time to sit down and play it because this is going to be amazing. Put it in. First disc is scratched. Can't even get past the title screen.
Oh, God.
But
oh God.
It was on Games with Gold, so I have the backwards compatible version on my one. It's actually installed right now, I believe. So I can go through and play it once I get past Assassin's Creed and a couple other games.
Yeah. Just some quick blurbs about that. What's good about Lost Odyssey is, and this is saying something if I'm getting into it, because again, I'm a lazy gamer. I like to play a game from start to finish, get my 10, 15, 20, 40, 70 hours if need be, and maybe this is this is taking away from Dark Souls, so let's take Dark Souls, pick it up and put it to the side when I'm making this statement, but I love a game to take me through the story as if my ass is sitting in front of a theater and watching it and you're feeding it to me. If I have to think myself and make the connections, that's fine. I get that. But if I'm playing the game from start to finish and I end the game and go, I don't fucking understand why was I even in that place? Why did that guy why was he trying to kill me? Why was that sorcerer doing that thing with her magic and shit? If you go back and you read the books from the sorcerer's fucking diary, she tells you her jaded past. I fuck you in your face. I don't know. I don't, even if it's in the game, if you're making me do something else to get the majority of a fucking plot, suck it. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Having said that, one of the greatest things of Lost Odyssey is, and it's even in text form, that's how bad this is, and yet how good I'm going to talk about it, is the idea is there are immortals in that game. There are, I want to think, 5 or 6 immortals, and they have lived thousands of years. And they have, one of them, the main character, has a journal throughout almost his entire fucking life. And it's just, it's random fucking stories you can pick up throughout his life. Like, year 523, I met the 4th love of my life. Here's 30 paragraphs about how she died. Year 649, this was the second continental world battle I ever took place in. Here is a story about me and the commander and our relationship together and how we overcame this huge battle thing, the narrative, the extra content you get in that game around that main character, great. You'll eat up every bit of it. The reason why I bring this game up in particular is, and this shouldn't be spoiling it, because I think if you know anything about Lost Odyssey, you've heard about this, but the very first boss battle of Lost Odyssey kicks your fucking nuts up into your teeth. It is designed to be utterly fucking difficult. Difficult to the degree of when you go into that battle and you get your fucking teeth kicked in and you step back and go, whoa, way out of my league. Way the fuck out of my league. I need to do what RPG guys do and go back and grind. You can't do that because the game doesn't have that shit. So you have to battle all your way up to that first boss. And then using what you have, you better hope for a good bit of luck, but you also better use what the fuck you have to your best benefit. You better be a skilled enough player in that game to do that shit correct. And I think the second boss is that way too. I think after that you start getting more powerful and you can kind of manage it a little bit easier, but that's kind of what I mean when I say I wonder what it would be like if we go back and play these games where, oh man, I had to fucking, like, a good large example, what would it be like today if me and you went back through our respective copies of Final Fantasy VII and then went and fought Emerald Weapon? Just today. It'd be vastly different for us now because we know what the fuck to grind for. You know, we would know where to go, what to do. I think the first time you run through games, it's a different story when you try to go the second or third time, especially within a year or two. But I think when you go way into the future, when you're like a decade older as a gamer, some things probably become a lot easier. You've had a lot more thrown at you. You've had a lot more obstacles to run through. And not only just your experience, your perspective might change. You might not even want to use a sword this time. You might want to be a fucking magician just to try it out. See what the fuck that's like.
Yeah.
So, I wonder what some of these old games are like. It adds a very interesting and look in the mirror aspect to older games when you go back. It is part, yes, I remember playing this game. Yes, I remember having fun with this game. But it's also, what am I like now? Like, let me just pick up Super Mario Brothers 1 for the fucking Nintendo, since I've gotten 120 stars in Mario 64, since I've got all the shines in Mario Sunshine, since I've 100% complete Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2. Okay, you think your fucking geek so big, why don't you go through Mario Brothers 1 for the Nintendo, just blow through it, and then you die on level 3. You're like, oh yeah. I like going back in games like that. I like seeing how I've grown as a game. And in RPGs, man, it depends. It really depends on the game. I know Adam and I have had arguments about games at scale. I personally like games at scale. It's one of the reasons why I love Dark Souls, because again, you beat Dark Souls, you go to New Game Plus, you cannot just fucking stroll through an area. You still get your shit pushed in. And I like games that do that. I like when you go to a new area and they go, oh, okay, so before you came here to level 5, you went around and grinded for like 20 hours. You're 15 levels ahead of what you should be. Yeah, that's not going to work, because when you leveled, I leveled. So now I'm a badass too. I like that. I like keeping that difficulty, keeping the challenge there.
I get that. But, that's actually one of my gripes in Destiny, is that you cannot truly over-level.
Yeah.
So if I go back to the starting area against the level 1 enemies, if I stand there, they will kill me fairly quick. It's not like, in an MMO where you go out to level 1 zone and they're going to miss you every hit. They'll never kill you,
Yeah.
It's, okay, they're going to take maybe twice as many shots, but they're going to kill you. And you doing damage to them, you're only going to do like 1 more shot's worth of damage overall. So instead of taking 4 hits to kill, it takes 3 hits or something like that. And that's only on certain enemies. The enemies in the game, the Shanks, they take, with normal scout rifles, 2 shots to kill throughout the entire game. Unless they're harder and they take more. But they will never take less than that 2, excluding weapons like they have Firefly, where there's an explosion that accompanies it, because that's technically its second source of damage. But it'll always take that amount of damage to kill, and you won't be able to do that damage in 1 shot by itself.
Wow.
So that's kind of a issue I have with the game, and some others have with it. I mean, I love the game, but, it's just one of those things.
I think, and I don't know where, I'm going to have to say it probably came around with the Dark Souls for me, but I fucking hated that get good mentality, but now that I have beast moded Dark Souls and can do it to this day, I kind of buy into it. I like a game that I can't just I can't roll into, I always make this example because it's such a good RPG for everybody to put their 2 cents on. The first time that I beat Sephiroth, oh god, spoiler warning for Final Fantasy VII? Question mark? The big fucking silver-haired dude that everybody knows from the promotional materials, he's gonna be the bad guy and you're gonna fight him, so spoilers? I guess? What? So, and again, mind you, this is fucking what? 19, 18, 20 something years ago. So I went through Final Fantasy VII. And this is kind of the way I am to this day. I usually will try to go through the main story and then I'll go back to the content. I don't know. I don't always do that either. Sometimes I'll just stop before the last boss and then go do all the extra content.
Yeah.
Give or take. I don't know. Anyway, so I get to Final Fantasy VII, all 4 discs. I get to the end crater, and you can tell the save before you're about to go fight Sephiroth. I knew this was going to be the last battle, so I backtracked all the way through the crater, or wherever the fuck you are. I got in the high wind, I left that place, and I was like, alright, let me go see all this extra content. I had done some of it, but not all of them. I knew about Ruby Weapon, I knew about Emerald Weapon, I knew about the side quest and the shit for the ultimate weapons, or all that. I knew all that shit. So I think I had borrowed a player's guide, or had a guide, or something, I don't remember. So, I went... Actually, let me correct this statement. This is actually on myself. I fought Sephiroth and I died. And I said, okay, not only do I want to go back and level, but since I'm going to go back and level it anyway, I might as well go do some extra content. So I left the crater, I went to go do extra content. I did a few little side quests here and there, and then I went to go fight Ruby Weapon. Ruby Weapon kicked my fucking teeth in. So I went and did some other content and ground my fucking ass off, got more material, got all the little combos I needed. I went back and I beat Ruby Weapon. Then I went to go fight Emerald Weapon, and I fucking got my shit kicked in again through him, went up and leveled a little more, got some more material, got some more shit, went back and fucking bitch stomped Emerald Weapon, did all this other content, got all these little weapons, dude, we're talking fucking master materials and all this shit. I mean, I'm a god. I get into that crater, I walk my happy ass through that crater, slapping everything in the fucking face on the way. I get to Sephiroth, I bitch slap his ass, I bitch slap the other version of him, and then I do the fucking end game, and I win. That is not the only RPG that does that, but to me, that's what upsets me. That's why I like games that scale. Because if I'm going to go out of my way to do extra content, I mean, Final Fantasy has a lot of examples like this. There's Ozma from Final Fantasy IX. There's, Yasmat from Final Fantasy 12, which that's a fucking 3-hour boss fight at a minimum. If I'm going to go out of my way to do all this extra content, and I'm doing the fucking montage of battle after battle and grind after grind and all this shit, and I'm taking these extra, Chris, that's the word, the extra bosses, the extra content. I beat those guys by the skin of my teeth, but I go to the end game and I just blink and the boss is dead. It takes it away from me. You know, it takes the fun out of that from me. So the scaling for me is more like keeping it in check. You know, I like that aspect of keeping a decent amount of challenge in check, where the game sees that you're higher than what it is, but it has more magic open. I mean, you might see a whole different fight. I think that's a good idea for an engineer of a game to be like, you know, hey, if you can beat this boss at level 50, but if you come here at level 70, not only is he going to be more powerful, he's going to have these 7 new magic spells unlocked that he wouldn't even use back there at that level. Yeah. So the fight's going to be different. You come at level 80, he's going to have these 2 other healing spells that he didn't have if you didn't come at this level. And it just adds another dynamic to the fight. So.
Yeah, to make another comparison to Destiny, that's like the hard mode raid and hard mode Nightfall and stuff. I think with the Nightfall is mainly health. You just increase health. You know, that's not really changing anything. That's just more, you know, damage you have to do, which isn't necessarily hard. But in the raid, they actually added new mechanics that you didn't do at all, or they modified them in some way to where you actually had to try harder and have more skill at what you were doing. Not necessarily, you know, be higher level. Of course, that helped with the damage side of it, and you kind of needed that to make it, because maybe you had less time to do it in, or, you know, you needed everybody alive. Because typically in hard mode in Destiny, someone dies, you're done.
Right.
But they would actually add mechanics for the difficulty. And that was interesting and a good way to do it, because it's like, all right, you're going to add more health to the boss. Great. I'll just shoot him a few more times and we'll move on our way.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that wraps up our, well, actually, this is a long, well, actually this week, it's a new session for one. And second, there's a lot if you sit down and ask me and Chris to tell you about our gaming history, if you're a genuine good old gamer, I don't think I'd be wrong in saying this, Chris, but I think me and you both could easily say, man, 3 hours ain't enough. I mean, that's not enough time.
Yeah, I mean, and
we have multiple consoles and multiple games and multiple genres and multiple stories within that game. There are personal life stories that are involved in these games. Like, I walked away from that episode just like I did the first time, and I was like, man, there's so much I forgot. There's so much I left out, and those are important. You guys need to know that we love games.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, part of it was because I just wasn't prepared the other day, but then it was just, how much have I forgotten about what I've played?
Precisely.
Because I've played so much stuff, and I don't know why it is, but I don't often retain things about games. 12 is an extreme example, but there are others, like we're talking about GTA 5. I know I enjoyed it. I remember a lot of the game. I can't remember that ending that you were talking about. I sort of maybe vaguely do, but it just didn't stick with me.
And there are too many times where I can tell somebody, and like I've said it in this episode already, like, look, I played through this game. I beat that game. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about it. Now, that could be many factors. Okay, the game itself could have been meh. The ending could have been meh. I could have played that game. That game was like a 6 out of 10, and I could have played a fucking 11 out of 10 for the next 3 months that eradicated every other game before it. I just don't even remember playing it, but I definitely remember all these fond memories about Final Fantasy VI. I could talk for hours on that. Now, the 3 games I played before that, because they were just okay, I wish I could tell you, but I can't,
Yeah.
And I think it's for me and you both, man. I think at the end of the day, all I really wanted to get out of the episode, out of me and you both, is just, we have a podcast. This is nothing but our voice talking to you. And at a minimum, we both wanted our audience to know at some level, what kind of gamers are you? What am I going to get out of you? Now, I've said this statement before, that I'm at that age where I try to respect all gamers, period. If you've got that guy, he's a coworker, and all he talks about is Madden, he literally owns a PlayStation 2, 3, 4, just for Madden. Can't knock him. Now, is he a genuine gamer? Well, even asking that question kind of makes you seem kind of shitty, Yeah. Like, what does it matter? He plays games. At a minimum, 3 hours of every day of his life is him sitting in front of that game and playing Madden. I mean, multiplayer or not, it doesn't matter. He plays that game. So is he a genuine gamer? Doesn't fucking matter. What I want is for people to hear us and go, okay, they don't know everything, but they've got their fucking fingers in this pie. They can hold a conversation about games. I've made this observation before, and I'll talk about this in my upcoming. This is what I did this week, but I was talking with somebody at one point, and I said they were talking about different games, and it's a typical type of situation where you have 4 or 5 random fucking people that don't know each other, and you bring up video games. And Chris, I know you've been in something like this, where one guy goes, "Oh yeah, I had a Nintendo." And another guy goes, "Oh, yeah, like I had a Sega, I had Sonic, right? Sonic, yeah, that's a good game, right? The jumping and the rings, yeah." And I'm the guy who goes, "Yeah, like Mega Man. Mega Man's my favorite franchise." It's kind of weird to say, but like Mega Man 4 is my favorite game of all time. And one of the guys looked at me and said, "That guy gets it." And one of the other guys was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, when you hear somebody say a specific game or a specific not so well known but sort of known game, you listen. And I made the argument. I was like, yeah, I agree. It's kind of like when you're in a situation where somebody's like, yeah, I had a Nintendo. And some guy's like, yeah, I had a fucking Sega Genesis. And one guy's like, man, I fucking love Front Mission 3 for the PlayStation 1. Man, I was always stuck on like Mission 2. It was fucking weird. That one mech always got me. I start listening to that guy. I start paying real close attention to the guy that talked about Front Mission 3. I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more.
Yeah.
I don't judge the guy that just blurbs that he had a Nintendo and that's all he knows. I don't judge the guy that just had a Sega and all he knows is Sonic. And he chugs a beer Sonic, right? It's more like I carry on a different conversation. You know? My conversation with those two is probably going to be about 2 minutes. My conversation with the PlayStation guy, who knows? Might have a fucking podcast with the guy, you know? But that was my takeaway from that episode. And for anybody else, that was just as brief and all-encompassing as we could possibly make it to where this is where we've been in our life as gamers. So hopefully you can have some entertainment listening to us. I think you also took away that Chris's opinions are fucking wrong, and he's a horrible human being. This is your Chris takeaway. He hates Ni no Kuni. He hates Dark Souls and thinks all Dark Souls players are plebs. And I think I heard him say abortion is great. I think I heard that too.
Wow.
So.
All right, let's not, okay, joke about the Dark Souls. That's fine. I don't care. Let's not take it that far.
So, Chris, tell me about your week this past week. What you been into?
So, Assassin's Creed came out.
Oh, that new game. So tell me all about it.
I'm going to open this up with two things. First, according to Ubisoft's Club app, I have 21 hours in the game.
Okay.
I'm level 27 out of 40.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 49% of the game complete.
Wow. Really?
So, and I'm not sure if the percentage is for collectibles and everything, which aren't really collectibles, but side missions and everything, or if it is purely story side.
Now, before you continue, because this has already got my gears working. How fucking balls forward are you going with this game? Are you just breakneck speed going from one side mission to the other and trying to speed run through these things and collecting these things? Or are you just having a good fucking time?
I would say not quite speeding through, but I'm at the higher end of the spectrum, maybe depending on what I'm doing. Because
and you're already 50% something through the game.
Yeah, but that's 21 hours. I mean,
that's but only 20. Oh,
I beat Destiny 2, in 15 or whatever. So,
wow. But see, when I think, and it could be wrong, you have more experience with Assassin's Creed than I do, but I remember Assassin's Creed having a lot of extra shit. Like that, you could go through the main story, and the story was only like 25%. The rest of the shit is what took your time up.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm not sure what the percentage is based on, because I feel like I have a lot of side stuff still to do.
Uh-huh.
But it could be where, like one of those games where, all of this type of side stuff only counts for 1%.
Yeah.
Or it counts for 10%. And the story is really 80%, but you're going to spend 3 times as long on the side stuff as you did the story. That's typically how the Assassin's Creed games work. Getting all the collectibles in the old games, even the most recent one, takes forever.
Right.
But this one, they don't have collectibles like the others did. There's just a lot of side missions. There are some treasures you have to find and whatnot, but that's nothing new either. But there's not like the feathers from the other games or the flags.
Right.
As far as I'm aware. Now, also I will say this. I was prepared to come into this discussion slightly disappointed with the game, but I'm still finding new mechanics.
Oh, wow. Really?
15 hours in, I'm like, all right, I guess we're not going to have this anymore. And bam, there's a mission, main story mission that involves it, or there's a side mission that involves it. It's like, okay, other mechanics are still there. They're just not as prominent, which makes sense when you think about the Egyptian setting of the game. It's like, all right, they're not going to have the glider suit in Egypt, something like that, which I haven't encountered. I don't know if I will or not, but I haven't encountered. But it's like, all right, in the environment, I understand. There's no Da Vinci building it for me.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, what was the other thing? I don't remember.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you.
So, the other thing is that as of this moment, I will still say that Black Flag is my favorite. However, I will say Origins is probably the objectively best mechanically.
Really?
Because it's better done as far as mechanics go. Climbing, much better. Combat, much better. And the combat changes actually make the game a lot harder, along with the leveling system that's in the game.
Yeah.
So it plays rather differently. I mean, I don't want to say completely different, but it's way different.
Okay.
So let's talk about a couple bad things.
Let's go ahead.
So the start of the game, confusing as hell. I had no idea what was going on. So you start off with a cutscene, you're fighting this dude, you kill him, you're like, okay, killed that guy, and you're not even controlling this as a cutscene. No clue why, no clue who it was. I don't know who I am at that point. I didn't know that was my character.
Right.
And you get, let me put it this way, the Act 1, which they call the prologue, 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So I didn't see the Assassin's Creed Origins title screen in game until 3.5 hours in after Act 1 was complete.
Now, I don't know how I feel about that. That makes me, quick addendum, so I can go ahead and, actually myself, the game that I was talking about earlier that's set up like the old school RPGs for this on Steam is called I Am Setsuna. So I actually posed this question to all the users out there that have played this, all the fan base. Sell me this game, because I have only watched the trailers. I've only seen some moderate gameplay. I'm an old school RPG guy, but something about this game is making me say no. If you think it's worth a playthrough, sell it to me. So anyway, so you're telling me that you go through the intro/tutorial style areas of this game and you don't even see the actual fucking title card till 3 hours in.
Yeah. Now the confusing part that I'm talking about at the start,
I can tell that you're not a fucking average gamer, so it's not like you just kept dying a lot and you kept fucking yourself over. I take that as engineered. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it's not as bad as it sounds because, I talk about how it started confusing. It didn't take 3.5 hours till I knew what was going on. I got the story and whatnot maybe 30 minutes in. I was like, oh, okay. This cutscene now explained, this dialogue now explained, who am I, what am I doing? Now, there still are some backstory related things I don't understand. Because you're this Magi, which is some sort of protector, bodyguard type guy. Don't know. And basically, people are like, oh, you're back. Okay, well, where was I? I know this event happened, but it seems like it was just 6 months ago, 3 months ago. But the environment kind of makes it sound like it's years ago. What am I missing?
Right.
So yeah, it started off pretty confusing. And Assassin's Creed hasn't really been known for its, superb graphics. It's not bad graphically, especially the recent ones, I think probably starting around Black Flag. You get out on the ocean, water's beautiful, etc. But in Origins, it has that, not as bad as Mass Effect, but that mouth sync that's off, and the funny facial gestures, and the eyes are crinkling in odd ways that don't necessarily seem natural.
It seems unfinished and not acceptable for 2017.
If it was a Mass Effect game, yes. As an Assassin's Creed game, the standard is lower.
Right.
So I would say for an Assassin's Creed, it's not too far off the norm, but it is slightly behind what I would expect.
Right.
And one thing, I very nearly turned my Xbox off and quit on Saturday playing this.
Holy shit.
Because I was doing the adult thing Saturday morning, so I didn't get as much time as I wanted. Got home, loaded up Assassin's Creed, got my stream ready. I was about to start playing, and I went ahead and signed in. And I had done some other stuff, downloaded some free Twitch stuff for linking the accounts, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, let me check out my gear, see if there's anything I want to equip before I start playing the actual story and whatnot. And my weapons were gone.
What?
Yeah, so I only had the ones that had dropped in-game, but the ones I was using were the pre-order or deluxe bundle weapons.
Right.
And I had upgraded them, which is not easy to do. I mean, it's easy, but it's not cheap to do. You need a lot of money to do it. And money early game, really difficult to come by. Even late game, I'm kind of struggling at times. But I loaded up, I was like, okay, why are these boxes empty? I thought it was a graphical glitch. Because I was like, okay, my weapon's there, blah, blah, blah. Nope. I hit the icon, it showed all my, other gear, the ones I was going to break down and stuff, or sell, and they weren't there.
Oh, wow.
So I sat here, kind of looked at my screen going, so I went to the, store menu on there, trying to see if I could grab them again. Because there are some, I guess if you get rid of them, which I haven't figured out how to get rid of them because I want to at this point, you can get them back. So, but I was like, alright, I guess I'll just restart the game. So I did the hard quit, booted it back up, and all my stuff was there. So...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it did it, but that almost had me just rage quit the game. Because I had literally my fists and no shield. And I'm like, it's kind of like the whole Rift discussion. I'm too far to kind of go back and do this.
Right.
I'm sure I could have managed, but it's just the principle of it. It's like, I was already only 6 hours in. So, I technically could have started over or whatever. But even then, would my stuff have been there? I don't know.
Right. And fuck that, man.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a scare there. Another annoying thing about the game is, so you have your little eagle companion guy, and you fly, you can switch to his view, look around at enemies, mark them and whatnot. When you zoom in on that, it gives you like the drunk blur around the edge. I know it's supposed to be that focused look, you're focused in on the spot so everything else is blurry, but it is not done well. I would have much rather them dim it or, black it out completely like a scope, do something else. Because that blur is just disorienting. And I'm not a person that gets, really, I don't get, that motion sickness from games or whatever. That just had my eyes hurting looking at it. So when I use it now, I try to zoom in on what I'm looking at and then immediately zoom back out. But bad things aside, loving the game. Like I said, I think it's it's the most mechanically well done Assassin's Creed game.
Here's the only real question that matters: is are you genuinely having fun with it?
Yes.
Well, that's all.
Yep.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. So I was talking about upgrading weapons, and it's interesting because you can buy weapons, but most of your stuff is going to come from drops, which is a new concept to Assassin's Creed in one sense. In the older ones, sure, they could drop it, or you could pick up their weapon, but you wouldn't unlock it all the time or something like that. Or there was one game where you would unlock it, but only if you did a certain thing, took it back somewhere or whatever. But in this one, and it's not every weapon, they carry will drop. It's not one of those games.
Right.
But when you kill a elite character, you have a chance of getting a better better weapon. And they're ranked from, common, rare, and I guess legendary. There's only 3 tiers. White, purple, and gold.
Right.
And the ones I was talking about where I started with the pre-order or deluxe bundle, they're legendary weapons and shield. Did not start with the bow, but I got the bow through the Twitch thing or either a Ubisoft reward. Because since I played all the Assassin's Creed game, I have all these credits on their little in-game system. So I can buy these other weapons or something else to help, play the game.
Right.
And I want to say that that's why early game I didn't have any issues was because I had these stronger weapons than normal.
Yeah.
Early game may have taken longer if you didn't have that.
Right.
Unless you got good drops. And it's completely random. There are certain chests that give you better drops.
I would say I would have 3 questions for you to see how you feel about this game.
Okay.
So 1, the stealth, which is apparently a big key aspect to the Assassin's Creed franchise. Does it hold up in this game? Is it good? Is it better than what it used to be? Is it worse than what it used to be?
Yes. I would say it is better overall.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I have not encountered are these stupid escort missions where you have to follow someone, keep them in sight, but you can't be seen. Something like that. You still have to escort people, but it's the casual, hey, let's go with this guy over here, or they're following you.
Right.
You know, oh, carry this injured guy out of the enemy camp. You know, that's okay. It's not based around stealth. You know, I'll go in and I'll stealth my way through the entire base, kill everyone without ever being seen.
Gotcha.
Because it gives you enough opportunity to do so, but it's not as cheap as it was in the older games.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily because the levels matter so much more.
Ah.
If the enemy is 2 levels above you or more, you cannot one-shot assassinate them.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's kind of held me up from progressing through the story because I'm like, okay, I'll do the story and then do side stuff. But then the next story quest is red because I'm not high enough level. It's, 3 levels higher than me. I actually brute forced my way through one of them last night using fire bombs on the boss because I wouldn't be able to damage it otherwise, or the enemies that were guarding her. Just so I could get through it because I was like, all right, I need to complete another story mission. It's been, I don't want to say hours, but it's been, like an hour since I did a story mission.
Right.
I need to complete one, but the only one I have, even close to my level, is this one. So they matter so much more. And as part of that, another interesting thing about this, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but it certainly adds to the gameplay, is the skill tree. Because the skill tree is divided into 3 main categories.
Mm-hmm.
It's bow, melee, and tools. Now, the way the older games work is you progress through the story, you get some side quest or a main mission, and that unlocks X. You unlock the assassin blade first off, that's usually early in the game. And then you unlock, a sleeping dart, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to choose what you're going to unlock. And because the level's capped at 40, you cannot unlock everything.
Well.
So it's interesting in that it makes you think about what you're doing.
Right.
And what would benefit you the most.
Right.
But at the same time, it's limiting you.
Yeah. I like the version that's kind of like that, but more whatever you use, it upgrades that more. I don't know, that's usually like a weapon thing, but I like the skill aspect when they do that,
Yeah. Like I had to go through, and it's funny because there are achievements tied to certain skills. So I'm like, all right, I know I'm going to 100% this game. So I need to be prepared for the achievement, so I don't have to play through it a second time.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter how much I love a game, I rarely play through them a second time.
Wow.
Pretty much the only example that comes to mind is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I've played through Lunar a couple times, but that's just because I wanted that nostalgia. I didn't actually want to play it for the mechanics of the game or whatever. I wanted to play it to reminisce or, go back in time and experience it again.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, this was a great game mechanically, so I want to play it again. It's like, let me just reminisce.
Right.
So I know I try to prepare myself on the achievements, and I was only looking at the achievements because I was trying to find something that told me my percentage of what I was through
Right.
of the game, because normally they have this helix bar. It looks like a DNA strand based graphic, and you could tab over and see what you needed to do for main stuff, story stuff, and they give you an overall percentage. Well, that's gone in this game. So I have no way of tracking my progress truly.
That's a quality of
Other
life thing
than-
that I don't know why they took out. That's weird.
I think it has to do with so Assassin's Creed, for those that don't know, and to refresh your memory, is a game where you are in a simulation.
Correct.
You're experiencing these people's memories,
Mm-hmm.
or their ancestors' memories.
Yeah, I remember, Chris. I remember this. You're hooked up to this machine, and the machine grabs you around the waist and flips you around the room, and you're Michael Fassbender. I know. I fucking know. Okay.
Yeah, the Animus. So, in this
Chris is
game,
not
it's
even
a little
biting
different.
on that one. Not even gonna bite on it.
I just let you do your rambling and then I move on. Yeah, that's all.
Moving on from that movie.
Yeah, so I think the reason it's gone has to do with the real life side of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And real life is in quotes there because obviously it's still a video game.
Right.
You know, it's completely different than what they did in older games. I'm not actually going to finish that sentence because I think I'd consider that a spoiler, even though it's not really, and you learn it super early on.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw the line there.
Might as well save that nugget just in case.
Yeah. So I think the real side of it, and I will say, I'm enjoying the real side of it more than most of the other ones.
Wow. Okay.
Because the other ones, some of them were clunky, pointless, whatever. This one actually makes you care about it a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say you're emotionally invested because it's not to that point yet, maybe. I have a feeling it might if things continue on their current path. But you also don't spend very much time outside the Animus.
Okay.
Out of 21 hours of gameplay, I have maybe 20 minutes outside of it. Everything else is in the Animus.
Okay. All right.
And that's a good ratio, I think, because in the older ones you'd spend hours outside of it doing something pointless, just to demonstrate the
Right.
bleeding effect or something else like that.
Yeah.
But this one, much better.
All right. So my second question of Detra would be: once you get out of the sneaking aspect, boom, combat mode. How does the combat hold up? Is it engaging? Better than the old version? Worse than? About the same? What do you think?
God, it is so much harder because it is better.
Because okay.
You're trying to fight this guy, and you have two other guys behind you. So you're trying to circle around to where you have all three of them in your sight because as soon as you go to swing at this one guy, the other one's going to nail you from behind.
Right.
So unless you have a teammate fighting with you in that particular mission, it's probably you against, anywhere from 1 to 4 guys, typically. There's a couple occasions where you get reinforcements called on you or whatever, and you could seriously get outnumbered. But having 3 guys, I generally, don't expect to make it out of that.
Right.
Part of that is because of the leveling system and the weapon upgrade system, because they matter so much.
Right.
Your damage is based entirely on the level of your weapon and your equipment upgrades, which I haven't even talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels so much better.
Good. Okay. So
I'm just tired of dying.
So the stealth is better, the combat's better. Third and most important aspect for me in these type of games, how's the story? Is it engaging? Do you like it?
I like most of it. And I think this is where Black Flag is still my favorite because the story isn't grabbing me as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it started off confusing. I still have a lot of questions, and they may get answered, they may not. But as of right now, I don't. So it is at times, emotionally investing game.
Okay.
It will get you and go, oh crap, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's very brutal in some ways, because it does not hold punches.
Right.
This is ancient Egypt. This is, people get killed for the smallest things. These bad guys are bad guys, and they're going to kill whoever's in their way.
Mm-hmm.
Man, woman, child. So you see some of these scenes and you're like, wow. All right, I'm just going to take a minute, hang out over here, and just let that process.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I'm not as invested.
Well, I mean, I guess the game can't always be a fucking rocket 10 out of 10 at all times, you know.
Yeah.
At least you're not hating it, you know. At least you're not disliking it.
Aside from missing some or being clueless about some parts of the story so far, I don't really have any complaints about it.
Right.
It's just I can't sing its praise at the moment.
Gotcha. And there is that too. I mean, we're recording this about 2-3 days after the game was released. So, hey man, all this is initial impressions for you anyway. You know, this game might fucking rocket in the next day or so, or it might plummet. Who knows? But right now, it's for me as your partner. At least I know that you're enjoying enough to keep wanting to play it, and you didn't like, man, I just fucking there's $60 down the fucking drain, you
know. 60, I paid 100.
Holy shit!
I get the when it comes to Assassin's Creed, I get the one that comes with the season pass, and so that had to be the deluxe edition plus the season pass, basically.
Gotcha.
So instead of being 60, it was 70 plus $30 for the DLC pass or season pass.
What a fucking nerd, man!
Yeah, I know, right?
So, aside from Ash Creed, any other things for this week for you? Or that was pretty much
not
it.
Game wise. Yeah, Friday I got home, I started playing, and, played till bedtime. Saturday morning, woke up, did adult things like I said, and then came home and started playing again. And then yesterday, I played all day long.
Cool.
So.
Well, I guess I'll move into mine. Kind of a three-parter for mine. First, like I said, I was playing Grandia for the PlayStation 1. Played it for about an hour or two. I just took the plate and I pushed it to the side, said no thank you. I could see where it would be appealing, and I could see where maybe a very younger me, maybe a not as experienced me would have had a fucking blast with it. I've been thinking about going back through Grandia 2 at some point and seeing if that still has the same flavor for me. It doesn't have to. This is another argument I've made for people in life is that, take GoldenEye, for example. They say, hey man, GoldenEye was fucking great back in the day, bruh. You play that shit now, it's fucking wicked bad. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but you don't always have to have it always 100. Always at all times. Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, always going to be 10 out of 10s for me, Chris. Always. And I know that because I played both of those games in the last year, and both is still, yes, fucking great. But not every game has to be that way. If I play Grandia 2 right now, and I drop that game after 4 hours of playing it, guess what, Chris? I still played that game back in the day. I still have fond memories of loving that game to death, So, game doesn't always have to hold the appeal. All I know from Grandia 1's experience is that I picked it up, I gave it a few hours, and I politely said no thanks. I also randomly picked up and started playing Rogue Galaxy for the PlayStation 2 because I heard some pretty good things about that game. I put a good 5-6 hours into that game, and again,
what's that game about?
So I've only made it about 5-6 hours into the game, so I've only made it through about halfway or close to the end of the first other planet you get to, but it's an RPG. It has pseudo cel-shaded type graphics, and it is set to a space pirate type theme. Still uses magic, still uses swords. There's a bit of crafting involved. You can find different items throughout the game to basically do almost like a sphere grid, where okay, you have this a spell, so to speak, called Fire Sword. And to use Fire Sword, you need this bolt and this sword. Well, through the game, once you find randomly that bolt and that sword, you unlock the fire sword. Now you can use fire sword. And unlocking that gives the potential to unlock about 2 or 3 other things, and so on and so forth. So that aspect was actually pretty cool. It's the story of a boy that's on this planet, and he wants to grow up and he wants to be a space pirate, so he wants to go travel the galaxies and to other planets and etc. The story was decent enough, didn't blow my socks off, but it was entertaining enough. The game, the battle mechanics, I had a good time with. It was enjoyable. The leveling up, the skill up, etc. was, I enjoyed it. I got it. I got what they were going for. I had a good time with it. Just maybe the pacing, might have been just a little bit off for me. It was a lot of Metroid style, but too damn slow, I guess. There was no, you couldn't sprint or run. I know that's a nitpick, but man, what do you want? I say what I like. It wasn't there enough to make me keep going. Is what I'm getting at. And for a good reason as well, because, I'm still playing through the Super Metroid, the Metroid Super Zero Mission is the title of it. I'm still playing through that, and it's got a lot more fucking gameplay. It takes that game and extends it, basically. Still playing through the Yoshi's Island 2+, whatever, now and again. And, I ran across, another YouTube channel that I'd heard about from two best friends called Klemps. And, I want to ask do you have any experience with, or have you played, Nier for the 360?
I have not.
Okay. Any experience with the Drakengard games either? Not that those matter, but...
No.
Okay. I recommend, if you don't want to play through the game, because you know everybody out there is going to fucking gouge your eyes out if you don't actually play the game, but I've watched an entire playthrough of Nier through two best friends. I want to say it was like 30, 40 episodes. I don't know. But I watched the entire playthrough of that game, and I also watched the gentleman Klemps. I watched his... basically summary of Nier. It's about 3 videos long. In preparation for, as I said last episode, there's 2 games this year that I have not touched that I have heard, like, people have been grabbing me by my throat and shaking me like, you've got to play these games. Is Persona 5, which I put that graphic up on the page and I sent it to you, so now you know about Persona and SMT shit.
Yep.
And Nier Automata. Nier Automata catches my eyes for a couple reasons. One, now that I have watched the playthrough of Nier, and I've had the game regurgitated to me and explained as well, because they kind of had to, kind of didn't, but kind of had to. I found the story for Nier interesting, and apparently Nier Automata has some references, some calls back to Nier, but it's its standalone game. So if I'm looking at a brand new game that's supposedly in a franchise, if it's the direct sequel, I'm very hesitant to play it unless I played the original. I've always been that way. Fortunately, from what I hear, Nier Automata stands by itself. It's a standalone game, so that's appeal number 1. So this is a must-play game of this year, and it's standalone. Second thing, it's a Platinum game. I love Platinum. Platinum is on a winning streak with me. They've been on a winning streak, most notably with Bayonetta, most notably with Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Love Platinum games. Seem like they're kind of they can take any sort of franchise and just make them great. You know what I mean? Not in the EA sense. Where they just take a franchise and go, fuck you.
Yeah.
So I have been back and forth. I'm trying to decide whether I want to buy this game, because even again, today, buying a brand new game, that's a lot to me. That's money. I don't have money to throw around all the time. But I just, like, if I don't have, I have a lot of outside sources through YouTube and forums, etc., that are telling me to play this game, but I have nobody directly. Chris is not telling me to play this game. Adam is not telling me to play this game. Greg is not telling me to play this game. So I'm so hesitant. But from the trailers I've seen, from the gameplay I've seen, the fact that Platinum is on a fucking win-win streak with me, and the fact that it's a standalone game, I said, okay, I'm finally going to go and buy this game. If I can find it for a good price. Quick shout out to cdkeys.com. Never heard of this place before, but not only do they sell games, they also have like subscriptions like Xbox Live and PSN. This game right now, as of this recording, if I went to Steam to buy Nier Automata, is $60. They had this game for $34.98, and because I liked their Facebook page, I got an additional 5% off. I got this game for like $33. That's half the fucking price of a brand new game. So, kudos, cool. If I was to give you guys a hot take right now, it would literally be a hot take game because I spent last night downloading it. I played it a little bit this morning. Had to go do some shopping and shit and came back. There's no autosave in this game, which apparently that's part of the story of the game. I get it. I'm an old school guy. Fuck, I can manually save. Let me tell you about manual save. I used to have to go to an inn in Final Fantasy 1 to save my game, okay? I could just save anywhere. Don't tell me about manual saves. But, I'm only maybe 45 minutes into this game, and I've already done action where I'm swinging fucking swords around, dodging attacks, very, very Platinum-esque combat. I've done a, shooter-style, area. I fought a gigantic fucking mech-style boss. The story that has been given into me in this little bit of time has been understandable. I get what's going on, so I have high hopes. I've tried in my later years to not get myself sucked into hype tornadoes because it can happen. A good example of how that didn't happen was with Breath of the Wild. That was a fucking hype tornado out this world, and hey, what do you know? It turned out to be what it was worth. I'm going to take this game all the way through because I spent money on it. I hope it's great. I hope it's fun. I hope once it opens up, it'll be even better than what I'm playing now. But as of right now, with a very, very, very fucking fresh off the grill hot take, I'm enjoying it. Having a good time. I see the potential, and we'll see where it goes. One other thing, and this is going to be a little bit longer. I meant to bring this up last podcast, but I didn't. So, this is actually a little bit this is a couple weeks ago. So this is kind of late due. I think you saw on my Facebook page, Chris, that I went to a console tournament down here on the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, grab me some popcorn there, bro. Let me tell you how this shit went.
Oh boy.
So what this was a local restaurant / bar type area thing here down the coast where I live called the Wayward Kraken. They're a nerd-centric, nerd-themed style bar / mini style restaurant. They have some, some snackables type. Their menu's very small, but I mean it's a hangout place. You like playing Magic, you can go here and hang out. You like playing D&D, you can go here and hang out. They got fucking nerd and game and shit paraphernalia all over the walls. It's our type of place to go. So, fairly new business. I haven't went there except for this tournament just because I'm a recluse. I sit at the house and don't go anywhere. I like it that way. But I saw where they were advertising for a tournament. I'm sure, I hope I got the name right. It was called it was a console war. And what it is they had different establishments. So the Wayward Kraken and this other bar and this other restaurant and this other place would bring in teams of 4 to basically compete against each restaurant or establishment. The winning establishment had a crown you got to keep like a trophy in their establishment, and the winner got something. I think it was a gift card or something. I forget all the details. I didn't care about what you won because I wanted to go. I wanted to go because I'm not a fucking competitor, and you're thinking, well, wait a minute, if you're not a competitor, why did you want to go? Because this was not a Halo tournament, this was not a Call of Duty tournament, this was not a fucking Madden tournament, this wasn't a Smash Brothers tournament. This tournament was proposed to me that they were going to pick 4 random games from 4 random consoles. You were going to play these 4 games given the parameters they give you. You were going to get an individual score. Your individual scores added up to a team score. The winning team wins. So the game could be anything. You weren't playing a fucking, the top 32 round of Street Fighter 4. It could have been you were playing Mario Brothers 3, the first person to 3 stars, as in the end of the level you hit the stars. It could have been you were playing fucking Pong, whoever had the highest score won. It could have been you were playing Grand Theft Auto 3, the first person to get to the quickest time to get to 5 stars. Who knows? 4 random consoles, 4 random games, score the top, go for it. I said, fuck yeah. You know what? I'm built for this. This is the type of tournament that I can get involved in. So I signed up. I tried to milk from the guy as best I could. I'm like, man, you gotta give me something. Don't have me coming here and it's Call of Duty and then it's fucking Overwatch and then it's Smash Brothers and then it's Madden. Like that's not, he's like, man, I'm not gonna tell you. It's 4 random games, 4 random consoles. Who knows what you're gonna be playing? He said, I will tell you the idea is you want to try to get a team for yourself. Because if you have 4 guys that you know are good fucking console gamer guys, you're going to have a better chance than if I just throw you in with random people. So I don't really have anybody because I don't know anybody of my guys that would be interested. So just get me in the loop. If you can just get me on a team, I just want to play. All right, so I get there the day of. The random thing was true because I was with 4 random people and I was actually competing for the Wayward Kraken. I was like, I'll support you guys. I don't know this place at all, but you guys are fucking nerd centric. You're right up my alley. I fit in here, I'll compete for you. The first game was Super Mario Brothers 1 for the Nintendo. And it was World 1, Level 1, so start the game. The clock's ticking. It was timed from the time you start to the time you get to the flag. So the fastest time, essentially. If you got it in between this many seconds, you got 9 points. This many seconds, you got 8, etc., etc. As far as I remember, I got the top of the 4 people. I was one of the top ones on my team. I got there quick. I did my thing. So I had high hopes. I said, okay, I'm doing pretty good. The next game was Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. He said, but there's a catch. I said, okay, here we go. The catch is we're at a bar type establishment, so you need to drink something for this game. And I was like, okay, I get it. It's a bar place. They're going to want you to drink. You're going to play drunk or whatever. So what the gimmick was, you had to go to the bar before you started your match of Mario Kart. It was 1-on-1. So me on my team versus another guy from another team. So it's like 1-on-1 all the way across, You all got a drink. Any drink. And there were 2 rules to this match, aside from you having to be the first across the finish line. 1, if you cross the finish line with anything in your glass or bottle or cup or whatever, you were disqualified. So you had to drink all of whatever the fuck you got. Rule 2, drinking and driving, as it is in real life, motherfuckers, is strictly prohibited. You cannot do that. So in order for you to drink, you had to, on Mario Kart, on the Super Nintendo, pull your cart over to the side of the road, off of the road, drink your drink. Once you have stopped drinking, whether you finish the drink or not, you can get back on the road and go back to racing.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
I said, cool. I got it. Again, it's a bar place. I get it. I'm down for whatever. Let's do it. They're like, all right, go get your drinks. The drinks are on me. Don't worry about paying for them. Just go get a drink. So I get up there, and I was like, you know what? I ain't drink in a while. Let me get a Dr. Pepper and a Captain Morgan. And the sweet lady said, unfortunately, we only have bottled beer here. I'm not a beer guy. I don't know about you, Chris. Are you a beer guy?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
There's all sorts of alcohols I will drink, and I've tested a few beers here and there. I'm just not a beer guy. Sorry. Don't tell you people in real life. I just don't like beer. I was like, okay, well, I guess just give me a fucking Dr. Pepper then. Sure, let's roll with it. So I had this fucking 22-ounce cup of Dr. Pepper. I won the toss-up. They made me the captain for the team. I said, I'm going to race. I'd like to pick that guy. I don't fucking know these guys, so I don't know who the bad guy is. I'll race that guy. They sit us down. 3, 2, 1, we go. I immediately pull off, and I start drinking my drink. Now, I don't know about you, Chris, but me drinking a soda, it's hard for me to chug a soda. I don't know if it's the carbon or what, but drinking an ice-cold soda wasn't working. I was trying. The guy next to me had a fucking beer, and he's, as most of these people here, the fucking yo bro college guy. 1, 2, 3, his fucking beer is done. He just throws his cup to the space. He's done. I chug about half of my Dr. Pepper, and I'm like, all right, back on the road. I can't fucking finish it right now, so I get back on the road. He's already passed me. That's okay, Chris. I'm up in this game. I'm better at Mario Kart 64, but I know Mario Kart. I know to pick a good racer, which I picked Toad, which I know I can hear it now. Oh, hold on now, it's not the best. For me, he's always been the best. I know when to brake around corners, and I know when to jump. I know when to pick between those two. I know how to take certain shortcuts on certain levels to get through the grass to make it faster. And I also know to get the fucking coins, because in Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, the more coins you got, the faster you were. So I was picking up coins. I'm fucking pseudo drifting around some corners. I'm braking. I caught up to this guy in no time. No time. I caught a fucking mushroom as one of the items, boosted through the fucking grass in one point, got another shortcut, and I'm not way ahead, but I got ahead. Right before the finish line, I pull over because you have to fucking drink. I can't finish it without fucking drink in my cup. I pick the right. Dr. Pepper up, and I'm making fucking nasty fucking porn sounds. I'm fucking chugging this thing. I got I don't really have a brain freeze. It's just drinking a fucking carbonated drink at the speed of sound. It was not that easy. Actually, I'm sorry, a little step back for this. Before I got to the finish line, just to make sure my place was solidified, I had a star item. I even let him get close to me, and I busted his ass off the side of the road with a star. So he spun out, and he's off to the side of the road. I'm like, now's my chance. I get to the finish line. I pick the Dr. Pepper up. I drink. He passed me up, and he won. And I was like, all right, I'm not mad. Not mad. He had drink advantage. It is what it is. I was the better racer. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm saying I was better than him, but drink advantage. No problem. Moving on. The rest of my teammates did okay. I don't know I think one of them won, so our team kind of shit. Kind of didn't do that good. Next game, I saw them setting it up. GoldenEye for the 64.
All right.
And I said, oh yeah. So I'm talking to my teammates. I was like, bruh, I've got you. As long as there's no stupid fucking bar gimmick on this one, I've got you. This game is on my top 15 wall of all time. I have two 007 files on that game. I've mastered that game twice over. Now, mind you, that was close to 15 years ago. I still fucking did it. I can do this. And they're like, cool, have at it. Initially, they had this set up to where it was multiplayer, of course. It was 2v2. Now, I'm trying my best to not be a salty Sam about this. But even with that game being archaic, because I know, I was telling everybody beforehand, I was like, guys, this is what you're going to run into. I know you're, like, one of the guys was talking about he was great at Overwatch, and another guy me and him were having a good conversation about Battlefield Bad Company 2. I said, you got to understand, this game is old. First-person shooters do not age that well, man. So don't pick this up thinking you're just going to bust ass in it. It's going to be rough. you only have one analog stick and your other one is controlled by a digital C stick, C up, left, etc. It's going to be rough. So, and plus you're inverted as default. He's not letting us change that either. So just be prepared. I was prepared because I always play inverted, and I played this game about 2 or 3 years ago. Again, I didn't go through a master file, but I know what to look for. Like, I was fucking ready, bruh. I was so ready to play this. We get in a match. It was the first team to 10 wins. The match starts. My controller is shit. Now, we're talking about actual, genuine Nintendo 64, not an emulator, okay?
Yeah.
So it's 4, actually 5, because he had a spare. There were 4 Nintendo 64 controllers. My first controlling issues were I could turn left, I could turn right, I walked forward. I did not run. And I could not move backwards. So if I was in a room with somebody, I could turn left and turn right, no problem. But if I wanted to run forward, I didn't. I just stepped forward. So anytime I got into a fight with somebody, I was trying to fucking kick their ass, but I wasn't controlling good enough. And I was vocalizing this. I was saying, man, my controller's fucked up. Now, mind you, on the couch, the other guys as well are talking about their controllers are fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, man, this kind of sucks. I'm like, is this part of the gimmick? And he's like, nah, man, nah, it's just go. I'm like, these controllers are kind of fucked, bruh, but okay. I had a teammate. He was like, here's this other controller if you want to swap it. So I had a teammate in the middle of the gameplay swap my controller for another controller. That controller, if I turned left, he would spin hard left and then turn back right. If I turned right, he would spin hard right and then turn back left. I was like, this one's not any better. This is not any better. Like, I can run forward now, but my left and right are fucked up. That's bad for aiming. So I had him swap it out. And again, other players next to me are complaining, and he goes, all right, guys, tell you what, here's what we're going to do. Let's stop this. Instead of making it 2v2, let's just make it 1-on-1. Instead of 2v2 to 10, we'll make it 1-on-1 to 5. And I'm like, okay, cool. I got a new controller. I have one of the other guy's controller, and my teammate had another controller. 3, 2, 1, go. This one runs forward just fine. If I turn left, it turns left super slow. If I turn right, it spins all the fucking way around like a 360. I'm like, bruh, this controller's fucked up. And he's like, man, I've done all I can, man. You gotta work with it. The guy next to me is fucking having a blast. He's got a decent controller. He's just fucking running. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm dead. Just dead. That's 5-1. Didn't even fucking get a kill in. I at least got 1 kill the last time. So boom, I'm out of the Golden Knight tournament. Everybody on my team that had that controller lost. The one guy that he sat down and got the good controller and the other guy got the shit controller, what do you know, Chris? He won. Go figure.
Imagine that.
So at this point, because of our team's losses, we were mathematically unable to win this tournament. Even if we got max score on the next game, we could not win, so our team was out. At this point, I was like, hey, guys, I had a good time. We're going to go ahead and bounce. The next game, which they played, was Guitar Hero for the PlayStation 4. I'm sure they had a good time. I would have played it, but, we were disqualified, so whatever. I know it sounds like I'm just fucking being salty. Because, one, okay, I could have picked a different drink for the Mario Kart. I get that. There was like a Mike's Lemonade. I guess I could have fucking chugged that. I could have got a fucking cup of water. I mean, damn, as a fucking military guy to the desert twice, I could have chugged the fuck out of a cup of water, And I guess even though my controller was fucked up, most of everybody else's controllers were fucked up. So even though the fucked up controller wasn't a gimmick, everybody else had to muscle through it as well. But I just felt that was kind of bullshit. Especially the controller thing. I'm like, man, if I had a decent controller, I could have, it would have been much better. I get the adapt and overcome of having a fucked up controller, but So I told my wife that next year I probably will do this tournament again, but you better fucking believe, and Chris, I know you know, I've got every fucking controller damn near for every console around there. I will be bringing my own.
Yep.
I'll fucking bring my own shit, and I don't have to worry about it. Then I'll have no excuse.
Walk in with a backpack of controllers.
Yeah. What's the next game? What's the next game? Sega Saturn? Oh, cool. Yeah, I got that right here. Yeah, right here. So
that's one of the only consoles I'm missing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay it either. I was in a good atmosphere. You know, I was around a bunch of genuine people. I had random conversations with random people about random games. You know, I was in that nerd-centric environment. I had a good time. It was a good laugh cut up. You know, it was in that multiplayer aspect a little bit where, you know, that was bullshit, or woo, I got a kill, or, you know, I fucking came in first or whatever. I had a decent time. I kind of fucked myself on one point, and another point I was fucked up by a controller, and that pissed me off. I was so pissed off about GoldenEye because I know I was talking shit. I was like, yeah, you better be good. You better be glad I've got the shit controller. You're going to need it. Everybody was like, oh, and yeah, well, actually, I needed a good controller because I got my fucking asshole reamed. But, so yeah, that's most of my time right there. I'm playing, I'm literally in the infantile steps of Nier Automata, playing a couple ROM hack games, and a few weeks ago I went to a console tournament. So, what say you, Chris? Shall we roll into today's topic? Finally?
Yeah.
So, today's topic is mobile gaming. Mobile gaming. Now, this is not a topic that is solely about smartphones and phone games and iPad games, though it will be a lot of that. This is mobile gaming, period. You know, this could be gaming. This is gaming encompassing Game Boy, Game Gear, DS, fucking anything that is you take a game away from your house and out and abroad, and you're not here in the comfort of your own home. How you have your games fix when you're out and about. We had a very teeny tiny discussion about this over Facebook beforehand, just some prep before the show, and you said you were well equipped to talk about this topic. So this may be, fortunately, a Chris-centric topic. I'm totally fine with that, because most of my mobile gaming is console specific. Game Boys, DSs, etc. I have very, very, very minimum experience with mobile gaming as far as, you know, your smartphone. I don't have a tablet, so that's out the water. But, yeah, so this may be more on your side, but the topic itself is just about gaming, mobile gaming, period. Like, where has it come from? Where do we see it going? What presence does it have in our eyes and our scope of the gaming world, etc. So, what's your takes on mobile gaming?
You know, it's kind of funny because you think you had that thing earlier. We were talking about, you know, a real gamer because they only play Madden or whatever. It's the same thing with like phone games,
right?
They're like, yeah, I play Angry Birds. Well, does that make you a gamer? I mean, technically yes, but in our eyes, you know, that's not what we necessarily consider a true gamer.
Right.
I mean, not to, you know, say, oh, well, you should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, you should if you haven't played real video games. But I played Angry Birds. I beat the original on all the levels, you know. I can't remember if I got 3 stars on all of them, but that's, you know, I was working on it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, you know. But there are a lot of differences that are slowly going away between phone games and handheld games such as Game Boy and DS.
I would like to know more.
So if you think about it, just look at how many RPGs are on phones now. I'm trying to think of what it is. There's a Final Fantasy you can get on a phone.
Yeah, there's been a few of them over the past couple years.
Yeah, I think 4. I'm trying to remember what it is that the last one I heard about was, but they did one and they're like, okay, well that went well, so we're going to do more.
Yeah.
You have to pay for them, and I think one of them was $15. I don't know if they all are, which kind of turned me off from it because I'm like, well, for a phone game, an old export that all you did was, convert it to a mobile platform.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
Yeah.
But the fact that they did it was pretty groundbreaking at the time because phones were for Angry Birds and, these other silly games, not for real games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now you have real, old school, treasured games coming to the phone and people seeing that as a success. So I expect we'll see more quote unquote real games being developed purely for the phone.
Right.
Especially RPGs. You get the old school top-down JRPG, Lunar, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger. All these are easily done on the processing power of a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. The phones are, as powerful as old computers were.
Yep.
So if they could play a game, why can't the phone?
Exactly.
Sure, you've got a smaller screen. The big thing is dealing with controls, but again, that's where RPG, especially turn-based, shines. Because, okay, I can, tap my menus to select what I'm going to do easier than I can, pilot this plane, which there are games that do that, so that's not really a good example, but it's easier to control.
Yeah. The graphics on phones are becoming quite phenomenal.
Absolutely.
It's very impressive what phones can handle with I say this with folded arms and as I nod. Yes, yeah, they're getting up there. Okay.
There's actually a browser game called Forge of Empires. And it's one of those, it was made in Flash and whatnot. So it's kind of clunky. It's a memory hog, etc. All those problems you have with browser-based Flash games. But they released, I'd say last year or maybe the year before, I don't know how long I've even been playing it, but they released an app for it, and the app looks amazing. It runs smooth, it has no problems, and yet the browser version completely sucks, as far as memory and resources go. So if they could combine the two and, do a browser version not running off Flash, it could be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, aside from some of the control changes they made to account for phone limitations, I'd rather play on the phone.
Yeah.
Than on my computer on the browser.
That's a good subtopic to already start talking about is where are some of the shortcomings in mobile gaming for you? I'll tell you right now, this has been the most obvious and bare bones basic and quite frankly fucking must have that from the earliest stages of what my age knows as mobile gaming has already dealt with. I'm talking from the Game Boy era, even fucking Tiger games back in the day, even fucking old handheld like red LED games.
Yeah.
Is control. Is control. Now, I'm fully aware, because I had a Super Nintendo emulator style thing on my smartphone back in the day, I understand that there are several ways to control games these days. I mean, you have the games that have the controller overlay over your screen. Cool. I get it. I see you can do that. But with phones being, I don't have, my phone that fits in my pocket is not the size of a fucking tablet that would fit in a backpack. So my giant manly monster thumbs cover up a gigantic portion of that screen. So if I'm playing, I don't know, Final Fantasy VI on an emulator on my phone, and I put my thumbs on the screen to press the buttons and move the controls, a good, a fifth, if not a fourth of the screen is taken up just from my fingers alone. So that's a no-go. I'm not feeling that. I know that Bluetooth is a thing. I know that Bluetooth controllers are a thing. But now I have to bring a phone with me and bring a controller. Not gonna gripe too much, but that doesn't solve the problem.
And you can't hold both at the same time.
Precisely.
So you have to put your screen down. So at that point, well, you might as well have a laptop or something else.
Exactly.
I mean, depending where you're at, to play on instead.
Where mobile gaming has already had this shit accomplished, and mobile games now, as far as on other devices, just can't fucking compete, is the controls. Because Game Boy had the fucking buttons on the screen. Now, you also got to pump the brakes on that too, because a Game Boy was designed to play games. A Switch is designed to play games. A smartphone, for mobile gaming purposes, mobile gaming is an afterthought. It's maybe a tertiary or beyond reason why you would buy a phone. Chris went to the store and bought a new fucking phone because he wants to talk to Michael. Chris bought a new phone because he wants to be able to have apps to manage things in his life in the palm of his hand. Chris bought a phone so he can have the fucking internet in the palm of his hand at the touch of a button because he wants to look up a restaurant review or a fucking thing at Home Depot. I doubt that Chris was at the store going, yeah, what's the mobile gaming escape like on this phone here? What kind of gaming am I gonna be seeing here? I don't.
So, I will say,
I don't want to speak for you though. I mean, maybe you did. Maybe I'm an asshole.
Not quite to that extent, but last time, so my phone not too long ago, first time I ever dropped one and broke one, did it, dropped, hit the corner of it, shattered the screen, wouldn't come on. So I went to get it repaired, and, I got this runaround. I had to go over to this other store because they were a repair center and this one isn't anymore. So I went over there and they're like, well, you didn't buy it with us. That other store is technically not a Sprint store. That's a third-party store, so you have to go to them. And I'm like, well, they just sent me over here, so they sent me to somewhere else. And they're like, all right, well, this other store is one of those third-party stores. They'll be able to take care of you if the other one can't. So, all right, so I went to there. And when it was all said and done, I was tired of going from store to store. So I went home, pulled up one of my old phones because I don't get rid of them or trade them in or anything.
Yeah.
My oldest phone my newest old cell phone that still worked, booted it up. I was like, I can't play half my games because they're not compatible anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm not going to hold off because I want to be able to play my games I have. So I didn't go in picking a phone because of what I could play on it, because the modern phones, I knew as long as it's Android, I could play the games on it, and it was, not 4 years old OS. I could play on it still.
All right.
So it didn't make me determine or pick a particular phone, but it made me get a new phone sooner.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think the thing I was going for is that when you go buy a mobile gaming console, which it's so hard that I'm trying to differentiate between a console made for mobile gaming and encompassing mobile gaming as a whole. When you go buy, and again, just using a new reference, when you go buy the, what is iPhone on? The 7? An iPhone 7?
10, isn't it?
Fucking iPhone, the iPhone 20XX. The Mega Man, oh God. Oh no. When you go buy the iPhone 20XX, I would be hard pressed in my circle of people, and I'm sure there's exceptions to every fucking rule out there, but I'd be hard pressed in my group of friends and associates to find somebody that went there to try to find a phone for gaming. You get a phone because you want a fucking phone. You get a phone because you want mobile portability, accessibility, etc. When you go buy a Switch, it's cool that, and maybe it doesn't, I don't have one, so I don't know, but it's cool that the Switch has a fucking internet browser on it. It's cool if you can add some other little apps or program type deals to the Switch. But you bought that Switch because you want to play games. You bought a Game Gear because you wanted to play fucking games. You bought a Nintendo DS because you want to play games, a Game Boy Advance SP, etc., etc. All of these things have controllers built onto them because they are designed to be a mobile gaming device. You want to take this shit with you and control it as close to actual gaming consoles in your hand as you can control it. You can't do that with phone. You can't. Now, I made this same type of argument back in the day when I would talk about 3D gaming. I'm not just stay in the truck with me. I'm taking a left, but follow along. I was such an outlier to 3D gaming because I was grossly ignorant to how the controls worked. My understanding of 3D games was that they were making the games motion controlled with the helmet or the device you would put on your head. That if you wanted to walk forward, you had to like actually walk forward or tilt your head down or some shit.
Right.
The big argument I always made was control. Control is where this shit is going to make or break. And I meant that for mobile gaming and for 3D gaming. But if I'm talking about 3D gaming, I posed a very basic argument. If I'm playing Mega Man X, and just spitballing a fucking game, somebody put the Mega Man X landscape, made it into 3D, and put it into a VR headset. It was bothering me of how I was going to play that and have fun. Mind you, the time that I remember 3D gaming becoming a thing was also back in the Wii era, where, yeah, Chris, playing a tennis game with a Wii nunchuck was cool. It matches because you can take the fucking chuck and swing it like a tennis racket. Playing golf with a Wii nunchuck was cool. It worked because you were swinging a golf club. Yep. But as all these things that were, I'm not saying gimmicky, but they matched controls of what you would do with your hands, I would ask the question, how the fuck am I going to play a game like Mega Man X in this 3D headspace? How am I I need to have instantaneous response. I need to push something and him to jump. How am I going to do? Am I going to like tilt my head up real quick and that makes him jump? It always bugged me. Until years later when my ignorant, stupid, dumb eyes were opened and I saw people had a VR headset on but they had a fucking controller in their hand. I was like, well, that's fucking genius. So imagine you playing Mega Man X and you run forward, but as you're running, you could look around with your head and, you know, be in Chill Penguin's snow area and you could see the snow fields and see the bunnies in front of you. And that's cool. What I haven't seen yet, what I'm waiting for, is the eye-opening, oh, fucking duh, experience with mobile gaming as controls are concerned. Because when I see games on a mobile device, and I'm trying my best to include all of them, I'm including fucking smartphones, tablets, iPhones, what have you. When I see these games, I see them wanting so bad to get into, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, I'm just putting a label on it, what I consider our gaming world. You know, they're trying to put Doom on these phones. You know, they're trying to put The Witcher. They want to have the success that all these AAA titles have. They want that. They want that mindset. They want that landscape on a mobile device. But when you look at it, you get Angry Birds. You know, you get you get Candy Crush. You get, the fuck was that defense game that everybody played? You get these tower defense style games. You get these you get Hearthstone and et cetera, et cetera. Yep. And my hesitation, my looking down my nose at mobile gaming as a whole is that I see them trying to jump on my fucking side of the world, and they want to get into this world. They want to get into the fucking God of War world, the Final Fantasy world, the Mega Man world, the fucking Ratchet and Clank world, the Witcher 3 world. But they can't, because it stops at the controls. And they don't have that bridge. It's not there. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything that makes it make sense. The only thing that could have made sense was back in the day when they had, do you remember the phones that were like split in half and you could push the screen up and there was a keyboard beneath?
Yeah.
That could have worked. You could have had a keyboard, and then if you were that hardcore, if your fucking hard-on was that big, you could have put a D-pad on one side and have some buttons on the other, or do the fucking PSP route and maybe have a really slick analog stick. My point is, it hasn't been done yet.
Actually, Razer has, and I'm pulling it up on my phone now, ironically enough, because I remember seeing them with a controller and a mobile device.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't finished loading, but it's called the Razer Serval.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's a controller, and again, you have to carry the controller, so it's back to, that point still stands.
Yeah.
But the phone actually sits on it. It's attached to this controller.
Okay.
So you have, and in this example, it's a, fully fledged, basically Xbox-style controller. Yeah. It has a little thing, the phone mounts on for your vehicle where you have the thing at the top and bottom that holds it in place.
Yeah.
That's on the controller.
Okay.
And it's connected via Bluetooth via Bluetooth.
Okay.
So that's, one method. Again, you have a clunky controller. But what I'm curious is the Switch, it has the things on the side, the controllers that detach.
Mm-hmm.
Why not have those for a phone?
Exactly.
Those are small, low profile, but still give you that basic functionality to play simple games. I'm not saying you can go play Call of Duty on it, because it's not going to be responsive enough or big enough or whatever, not enough buttons.
Yeah.
But if you need to navigate menus, do basic movements, play Mega Man, I mean, you only need 2 buttons and a D-pad, right?
Yeah.
Or 1 button and a D-pad, really, depending how old you go on it. So I don't see why that couldn't be done right now.
I see, and I mean, this mobile gaming shit has been on for years. This is no new argument. This is no new thing. It's just, it's still trying. I still see the gaming market as a whole getting in my face about, hey man, mobile gaming. And to which my response is, then you tell every fucking manufacturer out there that manufactures phones to start taking this shit seriously. Make me believe that they want this shit as a fucking mandatory thing on a phone and not just I guess in a fucking backwards way with another app and a third-party app and some overlays, we could probably let you play fucking Warcraft 3 on this phone, sure. The gaming companies seem like they're all about it, but the phone manufacturers don't seem to be as hardcore. Now, again, I'm pulling all this shit straight out of my fucking ass. Okay, I have no fucking Forbes letter in front of me saying that Sprint says it doesn't care about mobile gaming. I'm saying me, as a co-host of this podcast, with 35 years old and all those years of experience, I don't see the mobile market as a whole going, hey gamers, come on in, we fucking got you. I see it more like, yeah, you can get an app and you can probably play some games, it's cool, right? You want games? We've got fucking Pokemon Go, we've got Ridiculous Fishing, which is a good game. We've got these games. It's like they're saying, yes, we have games, quote unquote. You can go to the Google Play Store and you can find a fuck ton of games, but I don't see the fucking hard hitters, and I don't see when they're going to be able to make the hard hitters make a difference.
I wonder if this is something that Google will approach, because they're getting into the phone ecosystem now. They released the Pixel, and now the Pixel 2, I don't know if it's released or not, but it's actually a competitor to iPhones and stuff. So they're not just going, oh, hey, you can have this if you want an Android phone, kind of the equivalent of, oh, here, you can have this Linux PC for that type of person.
Yeah.
But for phones, but now the Pixel 2, and I don't know how the Pixel was in comparison, but the Pixel 2 is like, okay, we're serious.
Yeah.
We are going to compete with iPhones. We're going to compete with HTC. We're going to compete with Samsung. We are on this playing field now.
Good.
And they are the type of company that I would see putting controllers on their phone or buttons on their phone for controlling games.
Right.
Because they're that type of company. They're like, hey, we want to do these silly glasses that, have cool little augmented reality type things or whatever. We'll do it. Didn't make any money off it, but hey, they tried it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they were the ones that pushed that boundary as far as a big company goes. Now, I'm sure there are small companies that'll do it, won't be supported by anyone. But if Google does it, everybody will try to get a piece of that pie, assuming they do it well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I also want to throw some other disclaimers out here because I'm trying my best not to sound like a fucking asshole or a hypocrite. I'm not saying that I hate mobile gaming. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I'm not saying I do. Number one, as I've said before, I predominantly play my games right here at the house. Okay. If just a little peek behind the real life curtains of Michael. If I'm at work, motherfucker, my job I don't have time to sit down at my job unless I'm doing my last bit of paperwork and leaving to go home. So I don't have that kind of job that I'm sure some of you out there do, where you could just clock the fuck in and then put your fucking feet on the desk, type up some shit, and then spend another 6 hours on a fucking phone. I don't have that. If I'm out and about, I'm usually out and about doing something. So I'm doing something. I don't have time to play a game. If I'm driving somewhere, I'm usually the one driving, and that's by choice too. It's not like my wife forces me to. So I don't sit on the passenger seat and play games. If I'm hanging out somewhere, I try to make it a point to stay off my phone when I'm hanging out with friends. I try to. I do a pretty good job until everybody else breaks their phone out, and then I just flip everybody off and put my own out. But there are very, very rare times. Like maybe if I'm waiting at a dentist office, I go to the dentist maybe 4 times a year. Okay, that's roughly a total time of maybe 2 hours of my life, if that. If I'm somewhere in line or sitting down and waiting on something, which again are very few and far between, if I just sat down with a pen and paper and just jotted down and did some quick math in my life of where I would actually have an inclination to play mobile games, it may be for a total of maybe 15, maybe 20 hours of my life of a whole fucking year. Mobile gaming does not appeal to me. It has no chance to appeal to me because of the 5 hours of my workday that is free to me, 4.5 are sitting in front of a TV playing a game. Not trying to say an actual game, but I'm playing X games on my TV, on my PC, on my console in front of me. No game has come out yet where I say, I'm not fucking turning my computer on today, bruh. I'm playing Angry Cats or fucking nipple tweakers. I don't fucking know. There's nothing that has made me go, Chris, did you see the fucking E3 of this year? Did you see whatever game for iPhone and Samsung Galaxy S29? Oh my God. So the fact that I don't have time and don't have the desire to play mobile gaming, which means that when I do see E3 conventions or any gaming convention, and they're like, hey guys, Don Graves from So-and-so Games Interactive want to talk to you today about mobile gaming. Here's the 26 games we coming out. I'm like, I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't. So for the mass majority of listeners and fans out there that are like, bruh, I'm on a fucking train commute. I play my DS on the 45-minute train ride to work and the 45-minute train ride back. Or, hey, I'm always on a plane and my fucking Switch is right up my alley. For you guys and gals, I'm sure mobile gaming has an appeal to you. And I'm sure there are tons of games out there that are up your alley. But then
So you didn't play Fallout Shelter?
What the fuck is Fallout Shelter?
Really?
No, I didn't. I think I've heard of that game, but no, I didn't play that.
Yeah, that was their big thing when they announced Fallout 4. They're like, hey, not only are we telling you, that Fallout 4 is almost ready because they hadn't announced anything before that. But we have this little phone game called Fallout Shelter that you can play right now.
Huh.
And everybody's like, what? And so the App Store blew up, and yeah.
Oh, wow. The App Store blew up?
Yeah, you know.
Mass panic. No.
Yeah, so it was a big thing because nobody had really done that and done it that well.
Right.
Because it was just those silly little base building type. I don't even want to call it base building, but it was. Base management game, I should say, is better, not building management. Yeah. And you just manage your people. You could send them out, explore things, you know. You did what you wanted to do on it. But, yeah, it was pretty cool.
No, man. I suppose, but I didn't play it. And even going back to my statement, even when it gets to me to the point where I would have a lot of time and would have the desire, now I would actually look at the games. And this is where I'm saying the level of games that are going to be coming up and the ability to control them are going to be the next hurdles for me to get over. Because if let's say it's 2020. I hope it don't take this long for this game to come out, but let's say it's 2020. And they tell me that that Witcher 4 is coming out for the fucking PC, the Xbox 2, the fucking PS6, and the Samsung 26 and the iPhone 20XX1. I'm probably still going to get that game on the PC. I don't know what would urge me, why I would care that they would jam it down my throat. That fucking mobile gaming, bruh. You gotta get this on that phone you got. Because I don't. I guess it's a very subjective subject for me, but mobile gaming as a whole, not talking about console gaming, but mobile gaming like through apps or through your phones or tablets or whatever, there's no market for me. I am not in their scope. I am not their general audience. But even when I try to get in their audience, I think of, man, where is it going? How is it going to get better? What are they going to do to change this? Because right now, in my opinion, Switch would be a mobile gaming platform to go for. I mean, you've got the games that are on the Switch. You already got two awesome games to go play. But there's the backwards compatibility. I'm hoping that they have some sort of way to play the old Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games as well. There's your mobile gaming. But when you take that away and you hand me a smartphone and say, here's fucking Candy Crush or this sort of related Call of Duty game, but it's tower defense, I don't care.
Now, they're not really games, but what do you use the companion apps for console games?
The only companion apps I've ever used, I had a companion app for Final Fantasy XIV, which I used for all of 3 minutes because there was no need. It didn't do anything that I couldn't do right on my computer. And I have used the Breath of the Wild companion because it helped me track shit a lot easier. So I have used that.
Okay.
But
yeah, I'm at the other end of the spectrum from you. I spend probably more time than I should on mobile games.
Now, where?
On my phone, at home. I'll sit here and I'll be like, all right, I need to check this game real quick because, they're often based on timers. So at 6 o'clock, I'm going to get energy for this game.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm all right, I'm going to check this. And then 2 hours later, I'm like, wait, I was going to actually play, my console, but now it's, bedtime, so I guess I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of nothing I would call, true games.
Yeah.
They're just essentially time wasters. Or there's some sort of grind associated with it, and I don't know what it is, but anytime I have a RPG-like grind, I tend to get sucked in, at least for a little while.
Yeah.
So one trend right now with mobile games is the build up your hero type game
Uh-huh.
where there's a few different ways that happens. We typically have, around 6, maybe 5 heroes that are on your team. You upgrade their equipment and then they level up, or they gain rarity on top of levels or something like that to make them stronger. So you're sitting there grinding out these pieces to complete your heroes, doing little side things. The Star Wars game, Heroes, I believe it is a big mobile game right now. I don't know if it's new, but it's probably within the last 6 months to a year. I started playing that because it popped up on another game to earn gems, which is a whole nother aspect we haven't even touched on, is the money-making aspect of the phone games and how ridiculous that is. But I'll log in, I'll be like, all right, I need to use my energy. Okay, well, that may be 10 minutes on some games, that may be 30 minutes on another, depending if I can fast forward through it or not.
Right.
Which is another interesting feature. It's like, all right, we recognize that this is a little too much of a grind. We know you can beat this, so when you beat it without anybody dying, now you can fast forward through it, or do it instantly without even watching it play out. So they're a little accommodating in that sense, but it just takes so much time without even realizing it.
Right.
I also play puzzle-type games. Not Candy Crush, I refuse to touch that game. But, even Angry Birds, that's a semi-puzzle game.
Right.
I played it just to figure out how to beat the levels. It's not, a mechanically hard game. You just pull the Angry Bird back and aim it and you shoot.
Yeah.
But I briefly tried Puzzles and Dragons. And here's one thing about mobile games like that, and like the other ones I was talking about. If you come in too late and they don't have servers or whatever divided up by certain time periods, you are so far behind that's not fun at all.
Yeah.
In any sense.
Yeah.
So that's a big issue with the mobile games. That's why I don't play Puzzles and Dragons and another game like it. It was a clone of it. But I enjoyed the mechanics of it because it's not only was it, a match however many in a row, 3 or more, but it's also, okay, now you have your characters, your heroes, or your monsters, whatever the case may be in the game. But the bigger the match, the more damage you do, and you get more monsters, you level them, you infuse them, whatever you call it, to power them up. So you have this, RPG grindish type thing to it, and that sucks you in, or at least me in. So I've spent way more time than I should have on games like that. I have, like 5 games on my phone right now that are essentially sort of the same thing. I only really play like 3 or 4 regularly, but I still have, 15 more installed that I played at one point in time or another and may go back to if I get bored enough.
There are a lot of games like that that are designed that way. You can look at it from an outside perspective and see, well, you can play for 10 minutes and do this thing, but if you come back at this time, between this time and this time, you can get more of this. Or if you just leave this thing on, you just keep doing this thing, you can farm this over time. Like, I can look at it from a design perspective, and I was like, I see what you're doing. And when I start looking at games like that, that adds more of a, I don't know, because it seems more like they're less designed. They are. It's almost like they are actually designed to get your time and money.
Absolutely.
They're designed to get your time and money, and they're also designed to give you the fucking proper endorphins at the proper time to give you those right when they need to. And they're also designed to have you look at somebody else and go, I want that. And they go, well, you can have that by playing for 3,296 hours, or you can buy this loot box. You might get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I see what the fuck y'all are doing. And I'm like, you're not even designing a game for me anymore. It's like you're bastardizing some of the core aspects of a good game,
Yeah, so one of the games I play is called Knights and Dragons. And you have your heroes, you have your armor you put on, you have 2 accessories per person and to go with your armor. And the armor has different ratings. Well, the best right now in the game is called Shadow Forged. Well, there are these chests where you can spend gems on, to have a chance to getting a good item out of it. Most of them suck, but they have typically one or two chests that will drop what could be considered at that moment best in the game. Of course, the next chest is going to be slightly better,
Right.
but that's, not really relevant. But it got to the point where people were spending so much of this in-game currency on it that they recently added a guaranteed drop
Wow.
from a chest. However, so the normal chest may cost you, and they do this thing called step chests, where every one you buy up to 5 will give you more of a multiplier on your chance to get it. So if you have a 2% chance at the first one, by the 5th tier you have a 7% chance, some super low number, or it may even be like 20% increase, but yeah, when you increase 0.001 times 20, that's not a whole lot still.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. But to do all that, and I actually did it because I have so many gems in game right now, it cost me like 200 gems to go through all 5 steps. Because it starts out, 10, then 20, then 40, then 50 or whatever. So it all adds up to being over 200 gems.
Right.
The guaranteed drop is 5,000 gems.
Holy shit.
And that's not easy to get unless you pay for it.
Right.
And even if you pay for it, that's not cheap.
Yep.
I'm actually loading it up right now because I'm curious what their pack is. So for 1,800 gems, which is marked as their best value, 1,800. So you'd have to buy 3 of these packs to be able to get the thing. $200 each.
Wow.
For 1,800 gems.
Wow.
So you would have to spend $600 to get that guaranteed drop.
And Chris, there
people do it.
Yes, there are will make you sick how many people you find out are actually doing that, and that blows my mind. Now, that's where the fucking tinfoil hat in me comes out and goes, there's your fucking problem. You have fucking Johnny Joe Hideki in Japan that's trying to make a game by himself, has been developing this game for 7 years, and his passion fucking bleeds RPG out of his fucking mouth. He loves these games. He wants to make this game, and he will make this, I guess popular opinion will be it'll be a 6 out of 10 RPG, but the fucking RPG fan base loves this game. He made it, man, you did a good fucking job. Meanwhile, Steam Hat Sam over here in America has engineered a game that hits all the right chemical buttons in your fucking brain, has all the right color patterns, has all the right supply demand, has all the right things to make you go, I want that fucking suit of armor that dude has. How can I get it? Well, you could put 7,000 hours into a random chance, or you can drop me $1,000 and you can have it. That's the guy that gets the known. That's the game that gets on the fucking charts. That's the game that goes across Twitter as trending for fucking 7, 8, 9 months in a row and has all your friends talking about it and putting it on their phone. And that pisses me off. That part of mobile gaming that's the part of mobile gaming that I do not like. And it's not just mobile gaming. Console games are just as bad. PC games are just as bad. That whole entire aspect of pay to win or pay to get this cool thing, it irks me. Not my place to tell people how to spend their money. I don't give a fuck what you do. If you got the money and the capital, do what you want with your money. But that, to me, is not what gaming is about. You know?
Yeah, and Knights and Dragons, and it's one of the only games I play that's this bad as far as pay to win. It is terrible if you do not pay for it, and I don't. I mean, I've thrown in $5 here, $5 there, just for whatever at the moment. But I have a general rule of thumb where I'm not going to spend more on a phone game than it would cost me to buy a game I want to play.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not going to spend $50 on a phone game when I could go pay $50 and get a console game that I actually care about playing more and will get more value out of at the end of the day.
I agree.
So I've spent, a little bit on it, not much, probably $20 or whatever. But it is one of the worst pay-to-win games I've played. There are others that do it much better. Dragon Soul, it's another. You have your heroes, you get your scraps to craft equipment to put on them. You get all 6 slots. You upgrade them to the next color, or if there's not a new color available, because we're in game at this point, you just enchant it and you sit there until they do another update or work on other heroes or whatever. And sure, you can buy, in that game they're diamonds, this in-game currency, whatever you want to call it. You buy them. You can go a little bit faster, but they also do a good job of giving you diamonds or gems daily.
Right.
And I pay $3 a month on Dragon Soul because that gives us a daily 100 and something gems.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but I'll save them up for a couple of months and then spend them all at once and benefit, all at least 10% of the scale that someone who pays does, if that. But I don't mind that because I'm almost as good as that person is, and I'm not spending all that money.
Right. Right.
So I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it. There's a small enough difference that it's not game breaking.
Yeah.
But like in Knights and Dragons, you have these leaderboards. Okay, the top 1 or 2 people get this new armor, that's more powerful than anything anybody else has. But oh, by the way, they paid their way to win the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So they got the last good armor.
Yep.
And now they're just using it over and over to stay in the top, 5 of these events or whatever. And they get more powerful, and nobody can ever catch up without, maxing out their credit card at that point. So it's just ridiculous.
It's so ugly. It's so ugh. I hate it. Now, the games. I mean, I guess we're kind of rolling off of mobile gaming, but speaking of mobile games, as far as buying things, the games that have it where it's paid cosmetic, it's strictly cosmetic. Like you're playing a shooter type game and that your fucking hitbox doesn't change. It's just literally just cosmetic. Cool. Got no problem with that.
Yep.
I'll hold nothing against that. If fucking Johnny Five wants to spend $500 and get that cool platinum looking armor, hey man, whatever. But when me and Johnny Five buy the same game and I'm fucking grinding and I'm on level 3 on day 2 and he's at level 40 because he spent, $300, fuck that. No, thank you. It immediately makes me lose respect for a game. I think a funny, again, not mobile gaming thing, but Final Fantasy XIV, several live letters ago, they were asking Yoshi P, and Yoshi P, he doesn't speak a lot of English, so he gets a lot of things translated, and they brought up the pay to win thing, and the guy that was asking the question was it was like a 2-minute question, and Yoshi P was like, he heard his question, he listened, he had it translated to him, and he flat out said, "No pay to win." And the translator said, "Well, you don't have to have me translate that, guys. You heard him." And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
I remember
that. I like that. I like companies that say, companies that laugh at that. Like, no, thank you. Like, imagine Rockstar doing a pay to win. Like, motherfucker, have you seen my numbers? I'm doing Grand Theft Auto. I'm doing Grand Theft Auto 5 numbers. I don't have to have pay to win.
So their multiplayer is totally pay to win to a certain extent.
Oh, well, fuck me. I guess I'm wrong.
That's where they're making all their money. That's why they have yet to release the single player content they promised years ago.
Wow.
Because they are busy focusing on multiplayer and milking that for every cent you can get.
All right, well,
they have packs where you buy in-game money, millions of in-game currency for $100 or whatever. So they're making bank off that.
Well,
meanwhile, if you don't want to pay for it, you have to earn that money somehow.
Right.
So you're sitting there with the grind.
Right.
And I think at a certain point it isn't too bad, but it's definitely easy to progress with money on multiplayer.
Right.
Now, does it benefit against other people? I would say yes, in the aspect that you can buy better weapons, better vehicles. So even in races, I'll go in there and it's like, all right, custom vehicles are allowed. Well, this person had 6 million, in-game dollars to spend on their car. So yeah, they've got the super sports car, 5,000 that, goes Mach 3.
Yeah.
I'm in whatever default car they give me.
Right.
So it's a little frustrating at times, but that's actually why they have a mode where you can disable custom vehicles.
Right.
So everybody's on the same level playing field, which is good. And I won't say they handle it poorly because they do okay considering the scale they are, but they're making so much money. And the flip side of that is they're making so much money that they've released like 6 multiplayer DLCs. If not more.
Jesus.
Um,
and
so
yet,
it's like,
and yet,
okay.
no more single player DLCs.
Right, because they want to release the multiplayer because that's their cash cow.
Right.
That's where all the money's coming in. People buying it just to play multiplayer, at this point.
Chris, I want to ask you, do you feel, I'm talking to Chris the gamer, not the Chris trying to appeal to everybody in the gaming spectrum, but Chris, do you feel that mobile gaming is in the video game sphere? Do you feel like it's a part of the gaming culture?
Some. I won't say all, but I won't say all aren't either.
Right.
Because I don't consider Candy Crush to be that. But if you load up, like some guys at work were talking about the Snipers versus Thieves game, where you're literally shooting thieves, leaving a thing. That sounds like a game to me.
Yeah.
I haven't played it. But that sounds like a legit game. Controls probably suck.
Yeah.
But that's a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where I wouldn't be able to tell you explicitly this is the line, but there is a line somewhere in there.
Well, where
I'd say if you're on this side of the line, I would consider it part of gaming culture. On the other side, you're a casual scrub.
Where I like that. So what do you say? What do you think? What do you feel that mobile gaming is going to have to do to make you go, hey, mobile gaming, come on in. You're part of this. I can talk about you just as much as I talk about the Xbox and Nintendo. You think maybe it has to be more accessible? Or do you think
I don't even think it's that, because it's pretty accessible. I mean, the only split I really see is iPhone exclusives or iOS exclusives. Because there are also Android exclusives, but that's more rare. But that doesn't happen a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And not with major games that people really care about as far as real gamers, so to speak.
Right.
I don't know. I would say that it would have to have more of a ratio of what I would call quote-unquote real games to non.
Right.
But I don't think that will ever happen.
I don't think so. Yeah, that was going to be my next question, which I guess you just answered. Do you think it's ever going to get that way? I
think it will get where gamers will take it more serious because there are better games available. But I think the majority of the phone market will always be pay to win, clickers, puzzles, whatever have you.
And that scares me.
I don't see it ever going away from
that. Scares me so much because I already hate, and I've hated this for years already. I hate the way that gaming has developed. It's the way it's the way fucking everything develops. It's the real world thing that we have to understand. This world revolves around money. Sorry, it does. So the gaming has went from, I mean, I'm not that fucking naive. I know it's always been that way. Nintendo was a fucking cutthroat company back in the day. It's great that they're all fucking Mario is equal to fucking Mickey Mouse as far as appeal and woohoo, yay, everybody loves me. They were a company. And they were all about that fucking rock bottom dollar. So yeah, I understand it's always been that way. But it seems even more today than it was back then with a lot of games. It seems like it's always about we have to milk this shit for every fucking thing we have. It seems like the rock bottom agenda is more and more with some companies, with some games, some companies. It seems more of how the fuck can we not only get an initial profit off of this, but to continue to get a profit on it. Doesn't matter if it's a fucking shit sandwich. As long as people keep clicking that fucking thing that says pay through credit card. As long as people keep fucking pushing that PayPal button. I hate that. And if that's all that mobile gaming's ever going to be, I'm glad to say I'm not a part of it. Don't want to be. No desire to be.
And it's rough. And, I talked briefly when we were signing off on our last one about the Twitch RPG bot I've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie to you. I've had thoughts of, first it originated because I was like, all right, what can I do for my channel that I don't see anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how about a game you play through it? Because there are the loyalty things. There's, use your points and gamble them type scenarios. but how about a game where it's an actual RPG style where you have a character you're invested in.
Mm-hmm.
You fight monsters, level up, do stuff, you know. And, you know, the first basis of that was, what can I use to promote my channel, you know, make it bigger, to give something to offer. And it's like, all right, well, I can do this thing, but it's with the sole purpose of expanding the audience, which, you know, on one side, yes, I just want to have more of an audience, but the other is that directly ties into the chance of me getting followers, of getting subscribers, of getting donations.
Right.
So it's going back to the money side, even if, you know, I enjoy the coding aspect of it. I'm doing that part for fun.
Right.
But what did I code? I picked this because, oh, it could potentially profit me in the future on top of being fun.
Right.
And I've thought about, well, if this works out, because it's a beast that never ends. I'm like, oh, I could do this feature. Oh, I could do this feature.
Yeah.
I have a list of like 15 features on a spreadsheet that I haven't even touched yet because I'm not done with the other things I'm working on, the base part of it.
Right.
But I've already thought about, well, if this is big enough, I can make this a mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a mobile game. Well, and then I had the thought, like I'm sure all the other mobile devs does, okay, how will I make money off this?
Right. Right.
So I was like, all right, I don't want to be one of those games where pay to win, but you can only offer so much.
Right.
You know, so how do you balance that? So I've already briefly had a couple of thoughts, you know, like I don't even know what I do because I don't even know what the game completely does yet.
Right.
You know, I'm still working it out, fleshing it out, but I've thought about that.
Right.
And it makes me feel a little dirty, you know, because it's like I don't want to be one of those guys, but I'd like to make a little bit of money too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if everybody else is doing it, sure. But, you know, you're also not a AAA 7-figure company,
Yeah.
you know, so you're a guy trying to come up with a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or subscribers. It's a big difference. I guess it all depends on where your heart is, man. I get the idea that a lot of companies out there are trying to pose as though they want the next great gaming experience. They want to tap into what gamers love, and at the end of the day, they're fucking turning lights off and wringing their fingers going, yes! Just fucking wringing their hands, thinking of all the talk. You just hear the fucking dollar signs clicking now. The lights come on, they're like, oh, yeah, it's we are the Grand Theft Auto 5 killer. We have a great gaming experience. People will talk about us for decades.
Yeah, I mean, if you sell 1 million copies of your game, that's all well and good, but okay.
But
what then?
What did you sell?
Where's your income after that?
Yeah.
You know.
So I always feel like I treat mobile gaming as that outlier. I treat it like the fucking, you know, the Sony's in the house and Xbox, Microsoft's it's in the house and Nintendo's in the house, and mobile gaming keeps trying to knock at that door. There's a loud fucking knock, I'll tell you that, because everybody's boosting up that hand to knock with, but
yeah,
it just doesn't. I'm like, guys, I don't see it. For all those that are hardcore fucking mobile gamers and all those that have all the apps and spend all the time, and I play all PC games and console games, and I play equally, if not more, mobile games. Happy for you. I'm sure there's reasons. I'm sure you can write in or email in and tell us all the exceptions to all these rules that I have against them, or all the things that we're not seeing. But again, I've always made the argument that controls for me are where the buck stops. I have not seen anyone yet that has broken through with that market. Maybe they will. Maybe there's an invention right now. Maybe there's shit that I don't know about. But in my narrow scope of gaming, even as much as I see on a daily basis, I haven't seen anything that's like, mobile gaming is finally coming up. It's here. It's a thing. Fuck Nintendo. Or it's right along with Nintendo. So I think that's gonna do it for our episode today. Again, this would be a portion where we talk about the emails, but we haven't got any. Poor pitiful us. We're just like Twisted Metal Black. We're gonna dye our hair black and wear some chains and listen to fucking, I don't know, My Bloody Valentine, I guess. What are your thoughts on everything we've said today? What's your take on mobile gaming? What do you think about the mobile gaming as a whole entire landscape? What do you think about mobile gaming in the gaming realm as a whole? Where does it sit for you? What things did you agree with that we said? What things did you not agree? What exceptions do you have? What counter arguments do you have? What things can you bring to light that we don't know about in the mobile gaming world? We'd love to know. We always encourage feedback. Someday we'll get there. I'm telling you, Chris, there's gonna be a day where we're gonna look back and go, man, you remember when we never got emails? Yeah. Yeah, what's up with us getting like 1,700 a day now? Did you read any? I fucking rolled a dice. Now it started getting it's the best I could do. I'm sorry. But, we definitely encourage emails. You can email us at endoftimecast@gmail.com. That's endoftimecast@gmail.com. No funny spelling, no different numbers. Just spell it as it is. We got a Facebook page, which may be how you found us initially. You can find us there. Just search Facebook for End of Timecast. We have a Twitter. End of Timecast is on Twitter as well. So you got these 3 different ways to get a hold of us. Let us know anything you want to talk about, any topics you'd like us to go over. We definitely have the next few topics already lined up, but man, we play it loose. We may mix it up. We may just have a tangent episode next time. Who knows? But that's gonna be it for today. Thanks everybody for listening. Tune in. We'll have another episode in about a week. Hopefully with less corrections this time. Hopefully we didn't fuck up too bad. I know somebody's got a notepad right now just, I'm gonna fucking tear this guy open. All this fucking mobile gaming bullshit. So, alright, thanks for listening everybody. And tune in next week give us some feedback and we'll talk to you then. Until then, I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
Good night everybody.